part of the world, and like where money really wasn't a thing.
All right, back at it. Oh, I gotta change the stream title though. That's a great fucking title. Holy shit, I'm a genius. I don't know where all this fucking brain power comes from. Probably the ultimate Brahmin, the Geist. All right. I would rather stream on TikTok, but let's go ahead and look through all these.
No. Why? Because
you don't want to get arrested, do you?
I don't
Faggot.
want to be arrested.
Faggot.
Oh, because it's so harmful to people?
No,
Is that like gay bashing? What's wrong with that?
Would you use that word?
Faggot?
Yeah.
I just did.
Yeah, but would you use
Faggot, faggot.
Okay, but why?
And I'm using it because you're not allowed to, because you're...
I'm allowed to.
Go ahead.
I don't want to.
Say, I love gay people. Faggot.
I'm allowed to. I just choose not to.
Would you say the word
Alex
faggot on camera?
Who shot
Why?
the National Guard troops
You
in
don't want to get arrested, do
DC?
you?
Doesn't want to be arrested.
Communist, trans,
so
and
harmful.
Muslim
Is that like gay
people.
bashing? What's wrong with that?
Would you use that word?
It's definitely a
Would
Muslim,
Would you
so
use
I
that?
don't.
Okay, but why?
And I'm using it because you're not allowed to, because
I'm
you're...
allowed to.
This fucking guy. Let's see.
November 26, 2025, in what they're calling an ambush-style attack just blocks from the White House in Washington, D.C. Now, the suspect, they tell us, is a 29-year-old Afghan national named Ramanullah Lakanwal. Police are saying he was a quote-unquote lone gunman who ambushed the National Guard. Now here is where things get weird. Just a few minutes ago, I went on Google Trends to do a little research, and it looks like on November 20th, 2025, which is 6 days prior to the attack, there was a very small but noticeable spike in searches for one Ramanullah Lakanwal originating from the DC area. I then zoomed in to see what the search activity was for just this past day, and wow, would you look at that? A massive spike in searches for Lakanwal in the wee hours of November 26, 2025, the day of the attack. A spike that dwarfs the number of searches for Lakanwal even after news of the shooting broke later that afternoon. This is all.
It is insane how much access people have
Why would
to
people have
data
been
and
searching
stuff.
for Lakanwal's name a week prior to the attack? Not only that, a massive spike in the wee hours of the morning, the day of the attack. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, the other bit of context that I'll add is that on November 20th, 2025, which is the same day Lakanwal's name shows up for the first time in Google searches, a judge ordered an end to Trump's troop deployment in D.C., calling it
There you go.
unlawful. Now, could all this
Lisa
somehow be
outfollowed me
related?
yesterday.
You let me know.
Did I stream yesterday? Thanks, lady. You doing anything for shit? Let me get back to my mining. They don't do anything for old school RuneScape. Nope, nothing.
Damn. What did I do to you?
Interesting RuneScape. Alright. Back to the grind. I don't need no third-party events, motherfucker. Get the fuck out of my... Shut the fuck up! What the fuck am I looking at? Is this the guy? Did not mean to... it's Officer Tatum. Who is she? Name's Cootie. Pakistan. He's from Pakistan. I am done with a Pakistani man. The amount of women who are done with men right now is crazy. What is going on? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
Like, and that's why I say the reason I got to get it out now is if somebody kills me, God forbid, if something happens to me, you just need to know, like, it's their fault. Okay? Like, you know, and maybe you shouldn't say that because then it's like, oh, like everyone will blame Tucker. No, I mean, it's not their fault. But if I get taken out, it's going to be a play, which is have me on the show, get people to trust those people, take me out, and then you get rid of your Groiper problem. Then all the Groipers become whatever the fuck that is. You know, we're going to talk about the neocons, which has nothing to do with Jewish oligarchs at all. It does not proceed from Judaism in any way. Really? Oh, okay. I think maybe that's the play. So be on high alert. Not while I'm alive. Not while I'm alive. Not while I have a platform. Not gonna.
Okay.
Actually, for all you outright.
The guy who lost security clearance in August 2025. Oh. 3 gold thing. Man, dude, I'm getting nothing. Clearance in August 2025 for closing up to Taliban is now inside the Foreign Relations Committee working on the bill to defund the Taliban. Give him a red pen, make in charge. DNI Gabbard, terrorist. Okay, whatever.
Is a fundamental human right. Now, I used to think that maybe Bernie Sanders was just ignorant with respect to what a fundamental human right was, but now I know, no, he's just a liar. He's lying about this, and here's how I know. If I were to go to Senator Sanders and I were to say, Bernie,
for a belief.
I have a fundamental right to keep and bear arms. Therefore, I expect the government to provide me said arms at taxpayer expense. I have no doubt that he would be like, Nicholas, that's
Hey.
not what a fundamental right is. It does not obligate your neighbor to pay for your gun.
That's a
Really?
good one.
Is it? Wait a second. You're telling me my fundamental right to keep and bear arms, just like
we'll
my
keep it in
fundamental
mind.
right to freedom of speech or freedom of religion or freedom of the press, doesn't obligate my neighbors to subsidize my rights. Huh. I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that you can't have a fundamental right to the labor or property.
Listen, to all these stupid fucking right-wingers complaining about the healthcare, so they're like complaining about people wanting universal healthcare. Put forward a better fucking argument, bro. Like, put
claim that
forward
you
a
made.
better system.
Specifically the fascism, because
Like,
we've
you're all just
seen
a bunch
even,
of
for
fucking
example,
grifters.
Charlie Kirk last month was shot and killed.
Don't actually
and
really
so
care
what
about
happens
the
when we
healthcare
use
issue.
inflammatory flames like fascist, it paints people a certain
I hear you,
way.
Noel, but here's
But
the
do you
thing. If
understand?
they don't want to be
But
called
that's
a
like
fascist...
me saying, that's like me saying if you want lax border policies, then you're an anarchist. It's a false
Well, but
equivalency.
but
it
the
doesn't,
right
it doesn't
calls
add
the
up.
left
Someone can
communists and enemy within all the
because
time.
You do that.
Gen Zers asked Himmler to stop calling everyone on the right a fascist as it feels political. His response, they don't want to be called fascists, they shouldn't act like fascists.
I'd like to address the fascism claim that you made. Specifically the fascism, because we've seen even, for example, Charlie Kirk last month. Was shot
This is
and
like a
killed. And so
brown lady talking to him,
it
too.
paints people a certain
So,
way. But you understand- but that's like me saying if you want lax border
and
policies,
again,
then you're
Charlie
anarchist.
Kirk, he made the party the most, like, he was the most, like, open to diversity out of everyone in the whole fucking party. So I don't get how anybody's actually calling him racist. Like, it's just a retard claim.
It's a false
Well, but
equivalency.
the right calls the left communists and enemy within all the time.
Do this, then
No,
that's
I'm just saying,
that's-
look,
Okay, but they are communists. Have you ever met an actual fucking socialist? They're just a fucking communist. Like an actual democratic socialist. Not just somebody who's like, oh well, finally the left has a guy somebody we could look up to, kind of democratic voter. It's just like actual like socialists. Especially after years after they fucked Bernie over, they're just forced to. Oh, hello, Frog Prince. Don't talk to me. Speak to the Frog Prince. Which one? Oh. Please help me. I was transformed into a frog by a well-meaning but sadly frog-obsessed old wizard. Only your touch can turn me back. Will you help me? A touch? Yes, I'll do that. Thank you so much, Arbungus. I must return to my fairy tale kingdom, but take this as a reward. if I press kiss, would he even like, ugh, what? Gay? Frog token. They've been wild. Remember, this is old school RuneScape. That's how they would have
Look,
reacted.
they don't want to be called fascists. They shouldn't act like fascists. I just think that if this was not this country, if you saw unmarked cars with masked people hassling, look at the story of Narciso Barranco. He's gardening outside an IHOP. A bunch of masked agents come out. He's an old man. A bunch of masked agents come out, hassle him, tackle him to the ground. He's got 3 kids who are in
In a fascist, I'm not
obviously fascist.
I agree. I agree with the claims that they should at least be able to take off the mask, but it's a really hard weird situation to navigate when you can't just be letting federal agents get like doxxed and shit by crazy fucking people on the internet.
I'm not saying that's okay. What I'm saying is that in a fascist country, yes, I would say that's not.
It puts all people in danger.
What I am saying is that in a fascist, could I finish? In a fascist country, some political dissent is repressed, so all of the media is controlled by the government. So we still, even though there's polarizing rhetoric, we still have ways for people to express their opinion. We still have
They're not even wearing an identical badge number, as far as I'm
appeal
aware.
for mistreatment by ICE agents. And so I think that's important, because when we're
But in
calling
terms
people
of,
blatantly,
are they fascists? Or like I keep hearing this thing like, oh, they're not getting due process. I don't know. I mean, everything seems kind of above the board. They just seem to be mad about the immigration camps, which are really they're just extra prison space. Because if they weren't building those, then they'd just be going to prison, which is already flooded. So it's just like, yeah, I do think the problem solving is not is definitely an inflammatory one though, because I mean they have all the power to just like they could find this person and serve him and just expedite the court process. They could do all of that instead of just dragging them on the street and throwing them into prison. And maybe the violent one, sure, I don't really care, but I think there's a lot more than that.
I agree.
To believe that a small set of Capitol Hill police.
Okay, please, Thomas Massey, fucking go. Prophet Muhammad was right about women. What?
When the Prophet Muhammad heard the news that the people of Persia had made the daughter of Khusro their queen, ruler, he said, "Never will succeed such a nation as makes a woman their ruler." Source: Sahih Bukhari Hadith 7099.
The prophet was right about that. Let's just say that much. Muhammad is right about one thing: women should not run the country.
Rockshaka sent
Facts.
$40. As a father of
You know, I don't agree with Muhammad on everything, but
really doesn't understand militant Islam. So I wrote a book in 1995, and I said that if the West doesn't wake up to the suicidal nature of militant Islam, the next thing you'll see is the militant Islam is bringing down the World Trade Center.
You tell me to 9/11. That's what I'm saying. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Down the World Trade Center.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
The next thing you'll see is the militant Islam is bringing down the World Trade Center.
Whoa. Whoa, hey.
The next thing
Whoa.
you'll see is the militant Islam is bringing
Global what? Okay, I didn't get it. Fucking dipshit. Goddamn. What do you have to
Sit
say?
down for your Thanksgiving.
All right. Yeah, he definitely beats all of them, to be honest, especially on policy. But I mean, he's just not gonna win because this whole goddamn state's just so goddamn rigged. Gas, groceries, rent, electric. There's just no way he wins.
Groceries for Thanksgiving. Just remember one thing in California: every single thing you buy is more expensive than it should be because
True.
of Democrat policies. Right now in California, we have the highest.
It's 100% true.
Of any state apart from.
Doesn't California have the highest consumer tax?
Driven by their insane energy policies that push the cost of everything up, their labor regulations, environmental regulations, all the things that make everything else the most expensive in California makes your groceries for Thanksgiving the most expensive too. When you're shopping for groceries for Thanksgiving, just remember one thing in California: every single thing you buy is for your Thanksgiving meal with your family and your friends. Just remember that a huge proportion of the healthy food.
Make sure to get the water they need. Yeah, you know, I've definitely known.
Thanksgiving.
I mean, California has its like spring seasons and when everything turns green and all that stuff. But like in terms of like throughout the year, how dry is it? You could definitely look at the hills and stuff, and everything's just very dry. Every couple of years though, it definitely rains it a little bit harder. What is this? I take what? You know, I don't think vaccines actually cause autism. Like, if you get fucking a vaccine and then you're not just gonna start feeling a little autistic. I don't think that's. I mean, I think there's maybe grounds of like maybe a woman who takes a vaccine and is pregnant. Maybe that's like it will cause some kind of birth defect. I'm sure. I don't think anybody really disagree with that. What does this bitch want?
Fabulous first responders at a fire station, working with Century Save, who have donated 200 safes to community members who are driving up and taking this safes with the understanding that this is all about emergency preparedness. Everyone needs to have a plan what you will do in case of an emergency. Now, if you need help with that, if you need help developing a plan, go to readyla.org. Ready.
For what? What are we even preparing for?
Fabulous first responders at a fire
What?
needs to have.
Well, we don't need state-sponsored safes, you dumb bitch. Oh my god. Oh my god. We don't need safes. Everyone, protect your stuff. Why? Why are you telling me to protect it? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, bitch? What do you mean, protect your stuff? What?
Ew. Yeah, you can. Ugh. Gross.
Almost became a Spider-Man. He almost became Spider-Man.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Gross. Dude, imagine if it landed on me. That would have been a serious aura loss. Oh, I hate that. I wish.
I've been fun. He got bit during that. Everybody like, oh, yo, Spider-Man, yeah. We're just black supremacist spy black.
DEI hiring.
Oh, let's go.
Thank the DOJ for opening up an investigation on the mayor's.
That's exactly what it
For
is.
opening up an investigation on the mayor's.
Radical leftists are literally just what is it? Maybe not. I would say black independents. I think that's a lot more different from black supremacists.
Insane, out of control DEI hiring. You said in a recent interview that black people don't just look out for ourselves, but for everyone else as well. Well, clearly they're not getting the memo because they're destroying downtown and they're destroying the city with things like teen takeover. And when you say things like this, it just makes you look more incompetent and racist as a mayor. You need to start pushing more law and order in the city of Chicago. Help the police do their job. I'm asking you all to vote for the curfew and make the curfew time permanent for teens. Hold the parents accountable as well. Teens are doing the majority of the crime, and you know it, Brandon Johnson. They're even putting it on YouTube. They're openly mocking you. They're mocking you on Instagram and YouTube and all social media platforms, and you allow it every single day. Now, thank the DOJ for opening up an investigation platforms, and you allow it every single day.
I don't get how any resident of Chicago is actually satisfied with this fucking guy. I like.
In your city, it's about to get 10 times fucking worse. I'm in the middle of Bible study, and I gotta find out 2 of our National Guardsmen were shot. I don't know the status of those individuals. Prayers for those individuals.
Okay, he's cutting a lot. I don't care, bro. I don't trust a fucking word half these people are saying. They're all grifters. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mean to actually call people grifters. I don't really care what somebody's opinion at the end of the day. Sometimes it's just a grifty opinion, you know.
With what money? This was never about the hostages. It was never about Hamas.
Bro,
it was about leveling Gaza.
Yeah, sure, it's about real estate and resources too, but I think people are not paying attention to the fact that it's basically ritual sacrifice at the end of the day. Like, what they did was just downright evil, a sin to God. It's the devil's land over there in Israel. And that's not to say, it's just not Judaism over there. It's really not. I think as a Christian, if you believe in Judaism, you believe in the fact that, like, okay, well, it became Christianity. So, to that extent, you do. And then whatever this is Zionism, which is a totally different thing. Because then there's other people who say Jewish scripture doesn't agree with anything that's happening over there.
Banning public carrying of firearms.
But I don't know anything about that. I'm not going to get into theology of it all.
Moves we've seen in years. A U.S. administration and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, just stepped into a lawsuit to protect concealed carry rights for millions of people trapped in anti-gun blue states. And the case they jumped into, Hawaii. Of all places,
Hawaii blue?
One of the most hostile, restricted.
You know, I'm surprised Hawaii is not as... Is what? Hawaii a red state? Oh, it's red. No, they're blue. They're blue. I'm actually kind of surprised they're blue. Oh, sometimes they're red. Okay, because I figured they'd be kind of maybe not nationalistic, but definitely more conservative with them being like a very native island that introduced in the United States, not really conquered by white people or anything. It's very different situation there. Same with like places like Alaska. I hear them talking about like we don't want the browning of America. Well, think about it. If in the future America ends up making Mexico something like a 51st state, like, it continues the expansionist route. I mean, the browning of America is just inevitable. Especially, I mean, hell, man, you didn't want the browning of America. The America was already brown, so I don't even get what these fuckers are even talking about. It's just like, shut the fuck up. What do you?
This country, the better off Donald Trump.
I'm literally not gonna listen to fucking Christians about politics. I respect Christians' political opinions, though, just like I respect any other religious, any religion's like opinion or anybody's religious opinion. But it's just like, again, you shouldn't be actively going and pursuing people for their religion. Man, but it's a harder case now because of what happened with this whole Jewish Zionist thing. I mean, if anything, people should be aware of the fact that, like, clearly again, everybody was voting people based on their religion, and I just feel like people aren't voting based on the Constitution. That's all. Because you wouldn't have this whole Christian Zionist problem. People are voting on the Constitution, not just getting propaganda. Like, oh, well, why are you voting for the left side? Or no good Christian votes for the left side. It's like, I'm sure those some of the left people would probably fought more for you than a lot of the right people. So.
And whatever happens, happens.
Trump, sucking a ding dong.
Everything.
No. I believe in fiat money generally.
Would you make it legal tender?
Probably not.
Now he's gone too far. Fuck you, Nick Fuentes. You're not a goddamn Bitcoin enthusiast. I'm sure he is. That motherfucker got debanked. I'm sure he's Bitcoin. Do not put Israel over Americans. How to put America first.
You don't get to hold them accountable, and there is no consequences. They are victims, okay? This is how they are treated. And because of such, there is no sort of accountability. Again, no consequence.
In the divinity of Christ.
He was just a prophet.
No. We don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble.
He was resurrected.
We don't believe in the divinity of Christ.
He was just a prophet.
No. We don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble.
He was resurrected.
No, that's not a Jewish belief. Yeah, no. Or from a Jewish point of view, where we don't believe.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's where has chivalry gone? Like, why do these men who make $60,000 a year talking about gold diggers? You don't have any gold to dig. you don't have to worry. You don't even have to worry about it. It's like, bro, we're not even talking about you, because the guys that are actually in the 1% tax bracket, they want to do like the things that my husband and Nav are doing. They want to take care of women. They don't want us to be stressed. They want to be in our divine. They want us to be in our divine feminine energy. Investing in your wife is the biggest ROI that you'll ever have. Investing in your wife is not a financial burden, because when you treat your wife like a princess or a queen, you spoil her, you give her stuff, you just let her be able to relax. She gets into
this is an Indian fucking woman. Do not listen to this. Oh my god, bro.
In return, she starts taking care of you.
Oh my god, I'm technically speaking, bro. You're calling me a Jeet. I'm about to call this person a Jeet. Holy shit, dude.
You in a much better way. She's so emotionally supportive of you, because women are so strong in their EQ and how they can take care of men and like really comfort them on this level that they, really haven't gotten since they were with their moms, and not mothering them, but just like giving them that emotional support. And
I would not compare
that energy
That's
gets
very
rewarded
different
in the universe. It starts coming back to you. And I can say I am like a case in point example. Like, even before my husband really started making money, he always would find little ways to spoil me, even if it didn't cost that much in the beginning. And now, like, we've gone from like him buying me like AirPods or like Nike shoes to now like, spending so much money at Miu Miu or Cartier or whatever. And I'm not saying that to be braggy. I'm saying that I've seen this principle like really, really work. And I truly believe that like a man that takes care of his wife is like blessed by the universe. He's
yeah, I'm sure. I agree with that at least.
That like,
but like her mentality of it is like, again, is very gold digger vibe. Like, bro,
I feel like that's what God-fearing men do, like true alphas. And so like when I was training my dog, this is no joke. I read this dog training book, and it says in the book, like, the true alpha of the pack is not the dog that barks all the time, is super defensive, insecure. Like, those are the red pill guys. The true alpha of the pack is the calm one, the quiet, that like leads with dignity and this like stature and this grace. And let's face it, men are like dogs, like, so it's like, yeah, the analogy fit. If the shoe, no, so I was gonna say the same thing about Akash. Like, I think that.
Imagine if I were to say women are dogs, bro. Imagine. Oh my god! Of course, I'm gonna treat my woman like a dog because I need her to be loyal. What? Chill out.
Happy life is more just like, women are so in tune with their emotions. We go through like week over week fluctuations. So one, we can't always be on it every week like how men can. And number two, it's like
I can't hear that anymore.
But instead, y'all love lies.
LGBT affirming church.
You're marked as a false prophet, as a false teacher.
Okay, yeah.
Think about Turkey. Who really likes, be honest with yourselves, who really likes Turkey? You're all full of shit. Everybody who raised your hands. I know. Think about it. And here's how I know that every single one of you who raised your hand is lying to me. How many times do you
that's a good speed.
18-pound turkey just randomly? Just, you know, a nice summer afternoon with an 18-pound turkey. Nobody does it because turkey doesn't actually taste that good. But on the most American holiday,
God damn it. We put stuffing and gravy.
We're going to cook a turkey, by God, because that's what Americans do.
That's what Americans do.
Gigantic American bird, and we do all kinds of crazy things to make it taste good. I talked to a...
Put her hand up his ass.
She said
Stuff it with good stuff.
I'm actually going to deep fry a turkey myself tomorrow.
Yeah, they're copping the Bon Appetit fucking video. They deep fry the turkey then, and they're like, oh shit, this is actually amazing. That's a fucking wild thing to do. I think you have to deep fry it for like 40 minutes, which is crazy.
They have achieved.
Whoa. Dearborn, Michigan, the 12th
is going to be
Congressional District. This is Dearborn, Michigan, the 12th Congressional District, represented how Rashida Tlaib hears her own constituency capturing a video surveillance threatening to overthrow the United States government. How many sleeper terror cells are lying dormant on the U.S. soil waiting to assassinate Americans? I think people would be surprised how many, and not actually just Muslim ones. You definitely have the CCP in California. I would not be surprised. American empire must fall. Yeah, it'd be California. I heard there's one more state. There's one more state, but it's like more south. I don't know which one though. The American empire must fall. There are people. Okay, who the fuck is this?
More of the message that should be sent to the people here, in that they have achieved victory. We haven't done anywhere near enough. And the people here, I promise you, we do feel ashamed. We do feel like we're not doing enough. We do feel like change needs to come, because change must come. And in the form that it must come is that this empire, the American empire that's been hurting our people since the beginning, the imperial Western powers that have been hurting our people since the beginning, they must fall. And inshallah they will fall. And my message to the people of Gaza and the press people across the world is that there are people here, both young and old, who are going to be willing to fight and are willing to put their lives and everything they can on the line to bring these empires down, because they must come down.
Okay, well, just remember, don't make it a God thing. You're disgracing your fucking religion the moment you put it next to state in any way. Keeping it separate will preserve the purity of itself. Hopefully. At least that's the thesis. And we've already seen what religion and state has done when people run on religious context in state.
Kill my baby!
Oh my God, chill.
Kill that woman's baby!
What the fuck?
This video out? I know you're trying to poke at him. Of course you don't obey an illegal order. Of course there are standards and processes that are...
Yeah, you see what they're doing, though. Everybody sees what they're doing. Like, they're literally just trying to egg on a conflict. It's disgusting. Like and one that dumb bitch is a CIA agent. Why would anybody trust a single fucking word coming out of her mouth?
Also, I'm gonna say this here on camera because it's in
power, Candace, girl power, Marjorie. And am I the only one over here that's saying, like, no, less of this? Candace Owens, be with your kids. Your kids want your attention. Like, shit. Could you imagine Candace Owens' kids, what they're thinking right now?
Yeah, I'm sure her kids are like, Mom is fucking badass, honestly.
And, like, the wallpapers
Yes.
ripped off the walls. It's just yarn everywhere, pinned up to the wall. Pictures of trannies, pictures of Venus, pictures of Emmanuel Macron, pictures of the Stanford prison experiment. Could you imagine, like, the empty bottles of wine? Could you imagine? for a moment. The printer paper everywhere. Could you imagine things pinned up all over the wall? Eventually, she's probably just smearing the wall with paint or blood or something, you know, scrawling things up.
Become the first woman president of America.
3.8 billion to Israel, and Caesar, you're going back home. Come with me.
That's funny.
Hey, Leah, how are you going to become the first woman president of America?
3.8 billion to
Spend so much time making an enemy.
I don't think I mean, I'm sure the American government understands. I'm sure all the politicians understand how much they're being fucking memed on and how little respect they have over the Israel thing. Because the Israel thing is a giant fucking meme.
And Christians that
I know exactly how to solve this problem. Don't worry. I'm sending
Yeah.
$5 million to Israel.
Kind of smells like pot around here too.
You'll never guess a Republican.
Hey guys, just let us know your names while you're at it.
Which Republican? Thomas Massey? Whatever. Don't care.
This means discovering the gift and adventure of motherhood and fatherhood, in which
is an in-person interview for refugees or visa applicants. Now, you've testified that you're not doing those interviews.
Not at all.
That they're not happening.
You are correct that we are not conducting in-person full refugee interviews of 100% of the individuals.
Quite frankly, I always hear the argument, oh, well, just because we were in a war over there doesn't mean we have to take all these immigrants into our country. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you occupy the whole state for 20 years, waging war on the Taliban, which is technically going to be the governing forces, all they have, really, standing up to foreign influence and foreign powers, and then you just, again, you wage war there for 20 years, and then you leave it in disarray in a worse place. I don't know. I feel like you have some level of responsibility. I mean, maybe 60,000 was a lot. Okay. Maybe 60,000.
What percentage are you
I'll
conducting?
say that.
I don't have.
I
that
think.
information. What number have?
I think if border crossings or just like in general, like the amount of migrants are coming down, like at least like if it was like 100,000 a year, I don't think people have too much of a problem with that. I don't think that would be too much of an economic strain if you're spreading that throughout like the whole country and not just a specific state. Like, if anybody's gonna get hurt by the whole 600,000 student visa, Chinese student visa thing, it's gonna be California, and I don't know much. Maybe, no, probably not New York. I mean, I don't know any other. Probably more like all the liberal cities, but like, I mean, it's mainly California because it's just like a school state, you know. There's so many like good schools here, and it's already basically second Asia over here, so. If anything, again, all people being born in California is getting fucked over by that because the let-in rates, like, they're just not going to be let in. Like, it's just facts. Like, they're just not, it's going to be harder for them. There are going to be less seats. There's going to be less housing, student housing. It's a terrible idea.
Have been interviewed.
What we are doing.
Wait. What number of the more than 60,000?
And everybody knows, like, a lot of people already
received
struggle
an
with student
in-person
housing,
interview
and it's
before?
like, here's the thing. If you're just going off of basic supply and demand and you have all this housing and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to regulate the market properly and bring down the prices of housing when the market itself is like the whole entire fucking world can move into this apartment if they really wanted. Like, anybody they really wanted can move in. And if they don't want anybody to move in, they'll just, you know, collect their fucking what's it called, tax write-offs.
But they came to the country.
So it's a really
As you
fucky
said, 100%
situation
of screen.
that
So
no
what percentage have
single
been given
party
an
is looking to
actual
solve.
Interview by a trained official before they come to the country.
Like, I've not seen a
When you're speaking
single
of a
party
full
look at solving that.
refugee-like interview,
And they're going to the Democratic Socialists, and the whole thing is, oh, okay, well, we're gonna freeze the rent and just build more housing. But it's like, okay, but you realize like the price is never gonna really come down, right?
Data. By the way,
it's
are
not
you
gonna
following
come down. And
what's
in reality,
happening to
again,
people who've been brought to this country?
you gotta think about these cities. When people aren't able to afford there over like the last like 15 years, they end up just moving out, and then new people move in, and more often than not, they are from outside the U.S. Because again, most people in the U.S. are broke or not able to actually move from like a broker state to L.A. or New York or I think Seattle's pretty cheap, right? I don't know.
Transcript. There is no credible information that he trafficked them to anyone
I'm trying to keep most of my arguments tied to
According to
California. Since that's what I know best. Marquet the Goat has passed away at 24. Rest in peace, Sony.
In 2021, as part of Joe Biden's Operation
So I'm saying, this is what I'm saying.
The Afghani's permission to be in the U.S. expired in September, so he's now in
Oh,
the
really?
country illegally.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Lochinwall, according to CBS News. And as he shot the two guardsmen, he screamed "Allahu Akbar," which
Alu Akbar. Alu Akbar. Homie.
investigated as terrorism, as it should be.
I'm the. This has to be a fucking setup. I mean, I get the situation, but this is something. No, I mean, I could definitely say. I could definitely. If you asked me maybe 2 months ago, I'd maybe say, okay, that might be a setup. This one now it's just getting to a point where I'm like, I don't know, the political violence or like the political rhetoric is just way too much. That's just like, oh, I don't know. Why's 1400 the go-to there? Yeah, this one's pretty fucking hilarious. Get back to work, Matt Walsh.
Get back to work, Matt Walsh. Get back to work. Do not criticize Israel. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Ben Shapiro.
That's gotta be one of the. It's genuinely one of his. It's probably one of his funniest clips. I'm not gonna lie. The other one is him and Candace Owens going through Popeye's drive-through. That one's also pretty funny.
He gave me a tour of.
What was the weirdest thing he showed you?
The Oval Office and the Cabinet Room.
He had to have shown you something. One thing weird.
I mean, he showed me the portraits of all the presidents in the Cabinet Room.
Yeah, he saved the FDR for you.
The FDR was beautiful.
It was really nice.
And we talked about FDR for a little bit. And honestly, you don't have the LaGuardia record if you don't have FDR.
Yeah.
But we talked about that.
What you say?
I walked in. First you get there, and it's just you alone, and there are two people like guiding you through to get to the Oval Office.
You know, for a lot of people, Mom Donnie, like people got to look more into his past. But I mean, he's just a regular guy. Yeah, everyone's kind of like just using him as like a main character. Like everyone's seeing like, well, okay, what's really happening through his perspective.
And then I sit down, waiting for the time of the meeting, and in front of me are like all these different coffee table books, and one of them is UFC at the White House.
Oh yeah, he's bringing it there, right?
I had no idea, but I was
the road
flipping through that.
Yeah. And so you saw like guys fighting each other?
No, it was just a.
What was it?
His magazine.
Oh, of
like what the.
Yeah, the octagon is.
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be.
gonna look like.
Yeah, are you gonna go?
No.
Are you? Can I ask you a question? Like, how did you not laugh?
When the 135.
How did you keep the face during the press conference?
Oh.
Because we were all dying, and
I was dying.
It was like just straight face. He said, "Just tell me this." Yeah. How did you keep that face?
Honestly, I was just thinking about New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the whole time I was trying to think about.
I imagine he was like, I mean, it's just like what's going through his head at the time. Imagine having like 9 to 20 cameras in front of you, people just spitting questions, your camera's going off. Trump is right next to you. He's been calling you a jihadist, communist, and you've been calling him a fucking fascist, white supremacist. It's just an awkward fucking situation. There's probably a million things going through this guy's head.
You have a White House that is working towards an approval or one that's making it harder.
Oh my god.
That's kind of what kept.
Did you expect him to like you as much as he did?
I was trying to prepare for a lot of different situations.
I know. It's like when you're on that plane taking that selfie. I mean, that could have gone in any direction. I mean, like, did you feel that's the scenario, or like, were you like?
It honestly felt like the most productive meeting we could have had.
Yeah.
I mean, a meeting where we talked about.
That's what everybody could have wanted, honestly. That's the best thing that could have happened.
Groceries, Con Ed,
I don't get how anybody could be mad about this, and if you're mad about this, you should just go shut the fuck up and cry.
Did you worry that like to see that was maybe difficult for them?
I wasn't thinking about that.
Maybe it's like the hang has just been so.
Twitter, and I don't say this lightly, I think he changed the course of civilization. I really do. I think we were on our way to this weird dystopian.
Twitter got shittier, apparently. You know, it doesn't seem as popular anymore. Maybe I'm stopped following the popular guys, though. Good for me.
My new best friend, that's anti-Semitism. According to Tucker Carlson, that's Jew hatred. Everything that I just said up until this point, Tucker characterizes that as Jew hatred. He says, Nick is 100% right that Israel influences Congress. He said, but I don't agree with the Jew hate.
I don't... Listen, he could keep going on air, like Nick Funch just keep going on air and saying, hey, he doesn't hate Jews, but like listen, you've been on air for like 8-10 years. Like, you were pretty serious for most of that. Like, I mean, maybe not serious, but like, come on, like, you're pushing up this rhetoric. Of course, people are gonna think that. Of course, if you're like running for like some kind of political office future, which you said you are, of course, people are gonna be wondering, like, okay, well, is this guy actually gonna fight for me? You know, I'm American and Jewish. Like, of course, like, they don't think you are. Like, not a single brown person thinks like a. Oh, actually, that's not. I mean, I think he'd be all right. I think he's all right, to be honest. But like, he just makes it really hard for people to support him.
It would make a lot of global poor richer.
It's like, oh, well, I just need to stay my fuck everybody else. It's like, oh my god, guys,
please, make everybody in America
please.
poor. Then you do
Can you're out here saying you're a conservative constitutionalist. You looked at the whole Republican Party. You're more on the Republican side. Yeah, you're not gonna drop the whole like conservative like thing when the whole thing was a Jewish psyop. At the end of the day, like, just drop it. It doesn't matter. Like, you should end up being more liberal at this point, more liberal libertarian. He doesn't agree with the libertarian though, and he probably. I mean, I think he's trying to push for his own political party, which is America First, and just
to be clear, the
pushing for expansionist stuff in America. I think
that's the point I'm
not
making.
overseas.
So if all of a sudden you have more people being gay,
I don't know. We'll see what he does.
What?
No,
I largely support him.
People don't pretend to be gay.
Do you have the internet?
Largely is hard. I'm maybe 50%.
I'm saying
well,
you've got way more.
Yeah, you're gay, right?
What the fuck is going on here? Why is he? What the fuck is? What is happening? Allahu Akbar. Let's fucking go. God, let's fucking go. Conor McGregor, I've come to cross, my lord. I don't do cocaine anymore. I can't do the fucking accent. God damn it. Shut the fuck up. That's not happening.
You know, I said that Charlie Kirk was not killed by Israel, and I got a call from the Jews, and they said, good goy. They said, good boy, you can have your credit cards back. Here's your bank account. We're going to pay you millions of dollars because you're covering it up. I said, thank you so much. Wow, that was easy. I love it. No, I'm joking, of course. No, we had to go to a third world country and get it. It's a big pain.
I wanted to get America First, I have to be honest, but that shit was like $40. So, yeah, fuck that.
People are like, I will die for you, Mr. Fuentes. I will die for you.
I would not.
And then you go, hey, could you... Do you think you could figure out Litecoin to buy this hat? And people go, what the fuck? You don't have Apple Pay? people say, what the fuck? You don't have Apple Pay? What the hell is this? I got to figure out this Litecoin. You need to... It's like, yeah, you're fighting the Jews. You can't get a bank account. But Fuentes.store, get your hats. Get the hats, get the shirt. Now the hats, you might not...
It's interesting that they brought up Litecoin.
The shirt is going to ship right away.
I know that's the one being adopted by PayPal and Visa, I think, right?
Which is tomorrow.
Okay, well, let's go back to YouTube shit. Dude, it's gonna be genuinely so fucking long before I get the Prospector's armor. Holy shit. Hit me with the reset. Hit me with the reset. Everyone go subscribe to Young Turds. I don't know if you're not like that'd be crazy. Also, and Matt, look at how much they used to have and how much they. I mean, 55K is still like a fuck ton.
With AI,
you can create.
It's just they have to run their platform a lot more differently, and they have to work a lot harder. It's really annoying. Because they're doing a great job.
If he invades
I've been loving Shea Cougar and Anarchist Berry lately.
Forever associate MAGA with its decline. Welcome to the midterms. Welcome to 2028. This is the barrel of the gun that we are looking down. I was done with MAGA the moment he looked us in the face and he said, "What files?" Right? What are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
What files?
No, I think the entire nation has been hoaxed by Republicans and Democrats. MAGA is dead.
Yeah.
Now we're in the America First debate. Soon it's going to be the America Only debate.
Does voting matter anymore? I don't know. I don't know whether voting's going to be so much. Like,
Republican Party's dead. Even I was saying I gotta change my fucking I need to make sure they're bleeding. Like, I want to be a part of that max exodus. I wish more Democrats to do that. A lot of fucking California Democrats took that first step of like just realizing how much propaganda there is, and they just became an independent. That was the best thing they could have done.
Listen, regardless of where you land on the political spectrum, I think we can all admit Sean Ryan is all of us in what he said in that clip, because I think most Americans feel
so much. Like,
the entire nation has been.
Sorry, I wanted to play that.
MAGA is dead. Now we're in the America First debate. Soon it's going to be the America Only debate.
Does voting matter anymore? I don't know. I don't know whether voting's going to be so much. Like, looking back, we really have much of an option here, but I mean, we thought. But it is.
I still think the voting matters. It's just the fact that the elected the officials there, like all the politicians, are just corrupt, bro. And they've really done a great job of dissuading people from going into politics. Really painting it as an evil thing. Oh, all politicians. Why would you ever want to go into it? Because they can have it.
Listen, regardless of where you land on the political spectrum, I think we can all admit Sean Ryan is all of us in what he said in that clip, because I think most Americans feel disappointed with the politicians they support, vote in favor of, and then they, again, like to pull the rug from underneath you, and they don't live up to their promises. But that is ripping the GOP base, the Republican base, apart at this moment, and it really has to do with the performance of the Trump administration in relation to the various promises that were made by President Trump on the campaign trail. And I really do want to give the various people that we're about to hear from credit for just doing an honest analysis of the job President Trump is doing in his second term, because I can't stand partisan shillery, okay, and there's a lot of that going on, where people are so blinded by their loyalty to their tribe that they are unable to see how their own favorite politicians are either screwing them over or not living up to expectations. I think the only way things will get better in this country is if we are willing to see these politicians for who they are and judge them based on the job that they're doing. And it's not going to matter if a Democrat is critical of the Trump administration. It matters way more when members of the Republican Party, the Republican base, specifically voters, are willing to hold their politicians' feet to the fire. And the same is true of Democrats in regard to Democratic politicians. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on, because this Republican Civil War continues to ripple through the party as the result of President Donald Trump, in their words, betraying the America First crowd. And as you just saw, conservatives are noticing that foreign countries and corporate donors are the only ones becoming great again. But ordinary Americans are still struggling to get by. So this is a story about priorities, about the current economic situation in the United States, and more. Meanwhile, the vast majority of congressional Republicans are essentially following Trump's orders, bowing their heads. There are a few exceptions, but those are the individuals, people like Thomas Massie, for instance, who have to deal with the viciousness of Donald Trump over, Massie's unwillingness to be blindly loyal to him, even when he doesn't agree with what Trump is doing. So there are, again, a select few congressional Republicans who are trying to do the right thing here, like Senator Rand Paul, who I disagree with politically on pretty much everything, with the exception of foreign policy. I think the more libertarian,
I didn't really like
politicians are
Rand
better
Paul's
on
take on Social
foreign policy
Security.
than Republicans, and honestly, these days even Democrats. So why don't we get to the next clip and hear what Rand Paul has to say?
Lindsey Graham has not changed his positions, but he's clever, and he's become very close to the president, influences the president. Same with Marco Rubio. So the pending invasion or regime change war in Venezuela is hatched by those people. I actually think Trump is the one who is least likely to want to do these things, but he's surrounded by people
Ron
who
Paul.
believe in regime change and are goading him on. I do think, though, that if he invades Venezuela or if he approves...
I know his whole thing is trying to erase Social Security. I mean, I mean, that's not his whole thing. I like Ron Paul. I like Thomas Massey. I don't know too much about Rand Paul, to be honest. He seems like a decent guy, but like, yeah, I don't agree with the one thing I know about him, which is the Social Security thing, raising the age of Social Security, or just honestly, just Social Security costing people money. It's like, listen, Social Security is a pretty good program. It could be a lot better though. So I'm not against Social Security
the rift with
reform.
Marjorie Green will pale in comparison to what happens to his movement if he invades Venezuela or gives more money to Ukraine. His movement will dissolve.
So if you're spending a lot of time on X, chances are you're seeing a lot of posts from
Social Security really is just a backup of backups, okay?
Of military action against Maduro in Venezuela. However, that's not reality, because if you look at the polling, upward of 70% of Americans are against the U.S. military going into Venezuela to do a regime change war. Only 30% are in favor. And so a sizable portion of Republican voters don't want this. Remember, they voted for Trump because he was the guy who was like, I will not start any new wars. Well, now it looks like he's poised to start a new war. That is totally avoidable. Now, Nicolas Maduro, I don't have love for him, okay? But I don't care to go in, risk the lives of our soldiers, and expend resources we do not have as a country that's currently drowning in tens of trillions of dollars in debt. I just don't think it's a smart move to invade, especially when Maduro was like, what do you want, Trump? I'll do whatever you need me to do. What do you want? You want the oil? Let's make a deal. So there are opportunities to solve whatever Trump thinks he needs to solve.
I feel like some people will say, oh, wars are actually profitable. So you see all these people and they're profiting off the wars. And then you also hear the argument where it's just like, oh my God, look how much this war has cost us, trillions and trillions of dollars. I'm like, sometimes like, okay, listen, I get that both can be true, but like, you can't just keep playing both sides like that. They just have to realize that like we do have a military that is super powerful that we keep funded. And, you know, we might as well put it to use towards the bad guys around us, not just overseas and foreign conflicts that we have no actual, like, involvement in. Venezuela is pretty overseas, and I know they say, I don't know much about the drug trafficking ring in all of South America, but, I mean, I think almost every American agrees where it's like, nobody really saw Venezuela as, like, the problem. I mean, sure, there's gangs and stuff out there, but, like, the bigger problem is probably the cartel, like, south of the border. I mean, that's just me.
Through diplomacy, but he doesn't want to do that, which I think is incredibly strange. So again, he does appear poised to go to war with Venezuela. Hopefully, he'll pull back, but we don't know yet. Newsmax anchor Michael Savage, who, as you can imagine, is the furthest thing from being a left-winger, is even calling Trump out on this. Let's take a look at what he has to say.
You don't have to be a genius to understand what's happening, so I'll make it simple for you. A few weeks ago, we had a dinner in the White House for the tech titans, Microsoft, Facebook, Google. They all had dinner with Trump. They all hated him during the election. Then they all turned around and loved him and paid for the ballroom. And in return, they got H-1B visas for lower-paid workers, in plain English.
When you make promises and you repeat those promises over and over and over again on the campaign trail, you can't then turn around and break every single one of those promises and expect your base to continue.
See, it's great. Like I have not heard a single person talk about I'm just so confused how I haven't seen those we're the working class party talk about the H-1B1 visas and how they undermine American workers completely, and that's just a fact. Like that's what they ran against Bernie for 10 years ago. This stance on the H-1B1 visas. There's that clip going around right now where it's just like, oh, like, yeah, why the fuck do we have H-1B1 visas for a lifeguard? Like, really? Like, is that needed? One head that's gonna cost like thousands of dollars. And probably not generate enough. Like, if you're looking at head-to-head, there's probably a lot more people who cost money than actually add money. At least in the last like maybe 8 years, I'd say. I think what 2018 and before it wasn't that bad. 2019 and after, that's when it started getting pretty bad. You can't just blame everything on COVID, but I mean, you could definitely blame the officials for not doing good enough. There's times where I'm like, okay, well, actually, I would say Biden did a good job during COVID. But then I'm like, okay, well, look at what happened to education. Completely fucked. A whole generation of people just completely fucked. And the whole fabric of society, like, kind of shifted a lot because of the pandemic and keeping people locked down, which is wild. I still think the lockdown at least was kind of necessary, but a lot of the policies just stuck around way too fucking long. Especially mask policy. Like, there's nothing I hate more than all the mask and shit, but whatever. CoffeeZilla is a grifter. Why would you ever watch him? He's exposing me. What the fuck? Okay, well, we'll watch this. I don't, do I really want to hear myself? Oh my god, I know what to watch. 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 Let me change my thing. Praise the Lord. Okay. I wanted to watch this one because it really just makes me cringe watching these guys. Oh my god. Y'all just...
And there's chaos and there's protests and an ICE raid on a California cannabis farm. That's when things went wrong for U.S. citizen
I can't stand
Army
these
veteran
people.
George Redez Jr. George works as a security guard at the Glass House Farms in Camarillo. And you can see his white car right now.
I want everybody to notice the fact that we're not talking about the cannabis farm that was literally had like children on it and illegal immigrants farming and stuff. We're talking about this one that caused the problem. Yeah, because this one was the problem. This dipshit went on the freeway and went, guys. He went to the army and went, guys, I need to get to work. Move. I almost respect the gusto he had. If it wasn't actually fucking retarded.
George, he tried to back away from agents
Oh
that was
my.
pepper sprayed.
Why'd you go over in front in the first place?
Down by 2 officers and then arrested.
What were you thinking?
Days at the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Idiocy doesn't deserve sympathy. I'm sorry. Maybe to some extent, but not all the time.
3-year-old daughter's birthday.
ICE has crossed the line from enforcement to abuse, violating constitutional rights and human dignity. I knew it was too good to be true when you turned to green.
I thought so too. So, all right, I mean, just based off of this particular example, I would love to hear how you all could possibly reconcile this.
Yeah. I think that when law
How
enforcement...
you? I don't get where she's like. Why she's getting such a big ego. How can you possibly reconcile this? Is a dipshit looking at an army of soldiers and went, guys, move. I need to get to work. And he's like, oh, they're serious. I need to back up. Like, what do you mean? It's so.
Possibly reconcile this.
Yeah.
Why would anyone defend this guy?
Your vehicle, and you get back in your vehicle and you start using that vehicle, you're then endangering the lives of those law enforcement officers, and they will take you to jail. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
to
you
see
maybe
them
should
being
knock on that. That's a good point, actually. Why'd you
Americans
actually get back?
anywhere in the country.
Put your hands up, motherfucker! Put your hands up! No, I'm just gonna go back in the car. Go back to the car and move it. My bad, guys. Don't get out of the fucking car!
Well, I'm sure they would have given him guidance, and if he would have told them what they were doing, then they could. What was the
guidance
they gave him? Well, again, we were not.
The guidance was put your hands in the fucking air, bro.
He was using to reverse, which he very could have easily turned into drive and mowed down those officers, which wouldn't be unprecedented.
This is a stupid first topic.
Recently, an individual from the left tried to snipe one from.
Yeah, at least the video they brought up is like dumb.
Okay,
so why was he
let me
for
just,
3 days with
let me just see if I understand this. So he deserved to be pepper sprayed.
Yes.
A melee of pepper spray.
He deserved that.
Without access to an attorney, miss his 3-year-old daughter's birthday because he backed up his car.
Backed up his car. You're like understating it so much. Backed up his car. He drove forward into a fucking militia. What do you mean?
It's not illegal to back up your car. That's not a crime. He never committed a crime.
I think a major thing here is like we're looking at it from hindsight and saying, okay, this guy actually didn't have any weapons or any bombs on him or anything. Like these, if you're driving your car, you don't drive up 15 feet away from like 35.
That's clownish.
Like,
He works
I was
there.
supposed to get to
Where's
work.
he supposed to go?
Dude, you don't just drive up.
He's supposed to drive to the
just don't go to work.
What
You know, get a job so that you don't have to get food. But when you get a job to go work at that job, then don't go to that job because ICE is going to prevent you from doing it. That's ridiculous. There's 35
It
people.
is ridiculous. You're right.
Those police are fighting off a right, right? So they have no idea what's in that car. These cops are not perfect. They don't have infinite knowledge. We have a helicopter view of
Yeah, that's very true. I don't think people really understand the situation police are put in, where it's just like they have to. They're always like, imagine just going to a car and thinking it's like a typical check, and then suddenly roll down the window on a gun, like right in front of your face. Like that's what they have to deal with every time. It's pretty crazy.
Exactly.
Especially like, oh my god, and constantly getting underfunded, bro.
In 3 days.
Fucking areas.
Figure that out in 3 days.
It's just like the areas that are actually pretty well just have shittier like police, like how do I put it? Everyone just has bad cop interactions, and not in the fact that like these cops are bad, but more so they're not really doing shit.
I don't know the specific details on that.
We do.
I don't know the specific details as to the paperwork that they had to do inside of the prison.
These guys are terrible. They should not brought these two.
Maybe if they let him have an attorney, the paperwork might have
They brought the
been
two most
faster.
annoying fucking people. Oh my god.
Legally, you have the right to an attorney. It is in the Miranda rights. Like,
Yes,
they have
you
to
do.
say that to him and then give
And you
him
go on
that.
trial, yes.
Wait, so,
but I'm not exactly sure why.
why can't you
yes.
say that this is an obvious case where you disagree with? Like, come on.
We're
Like,
not
Guys,
arguing
this
it's
is
an obvious
ridiculous.
we're not
Why are
arguing
you
against.
Guys, this is ridiculous. Why didn't they bring the lawyer the moment he went on the freeway? What?
And I think
What?
we're Monday night quarterbacking this right now, and that is just irresponsible. And let's also not pretend as if this is the exception and not the rule.
I know that's one thing. Like, come on, like,
ICE is doing what they've been given a mandate to do by the
like they're full on ignoring the fact like they are getting due process though. It's just not the way you like. Sorry, like it's terrible though. Like don't get me wrong, but like they're not making a good argument.
Which is to keep America.
Not
safe
these
from
two,
illegal
the other
aliens who have
two.
invaded our country, who have shown no regard for the safety of the American people, and this is going to happen.
But this
And
man
so,
is not an illegal alien. He is a United
he's an
States
individual who
citizen.
disobeyed law enforcement
He's not.
instructions,
He's
got into a
going
motor
to
vehicle,
work.
very well could have threatened.
Also, we have to acknowledge the fact that immigration and foreign affairs are completely entwined, and it just you have to cut it out till we figure it out, you know?
Lives, and they made an enforcement action as they would.
An enforcement action of pepper spraying him and then holding him without access to legal counsel for 3 days. That is against
So
his
here's the thing. Wait, I'm
constitutional
sorry.
right.
Wouldn't they be
Yeah,
able
that
to
was
identify that, like within that time period? Like,
That
he
was
doesn't have a
fair.
gun, he doesn't have any
The
weapons.
legal
he's
counsel
literally
for
just
3
going to work.
days, yeah.
They can confirm that he works there. They could have done that all within that day.
Holding him without legal counsel for 3 days. Were they questioning his citizenship then, or were they just presuming? I mean, who was this dude?
And they could
I'm
have
not
done
gonna
that
look too
very
much
easily.
into
Again,
this
I'm not talking about
situation.
the 3 days. I'm talking about why he was arrested to begin with. He was arrested because, again, he got back into a vehicle, he turned that vehicle on, he
wanted to go to work.
reversed, and then he could have went forward and he would have killed 30 ICE officers.
But friends,
Wait,
it's
no,
30
if did you not see the video? There were 30 people in
The car
the
can't
video.
run over 30 people. They weren't like
Oh,
behind
okay.
each other.
I'm
They
sorry.
were-
He would have killed 10 ICE officers. My bad. Is that
I think he definitely has the best argument
I don't
here.
think
Like, yeah,
that's-
like at first I was like, okay, well, it is a little overkill. Like, okay, you just got back in cars and backed away, but it's like, yeah, realistically, if you know, some guy comes up to you and go, I mean, they're literally dealing with people in like fucking cars going crazy already. So like, I mean, I don't blame them, honestly.
No, I don't think that either case would lead to anyone dying. Why are you trying to act like?
I feel like I've seen some, I mean, just from clips of Portland and stuff happening.
It makes sense that you would kill 30 people with a car. Like that's what I was saying.
But 4 is okay with you. So
No, I'm just saying that you're being misleading. You're
I'm not
trying-
being misleading.
Yes,
Yes, you are.
you're actively trying to make it seem like it would be more people so that you could exacerbate it and make it look like it's worse than it actually
So
is.
I'm glad
Let
that
me please address this.
I'll meet you where you are. 4.
Nobody.
So 4
I
officers
don't
could have
think
died.
any ICE officers were going to die on the day because that person was just going to work.
Well, here's the thing. You don't think so because you knew he was going to work. You knew exactly what was happening. You're looking back in hindsight.
Yes.
You're not an ICE officer who has a family and kids. You're not all these ICE officers who have their personal life. They don't have a helicopter view of the situation. They don't know what's going on.
We just
You know
saw a
what else
helicopter
happened?
view.
They didn't have a helicopter view of the
Are you
situation.
saying that they didn't have police that were in those helicopters?
Bro, the people down on the ground do not know what's happening. The people down on the ground
do
do
they
not
have any
know.
communication with news helicopters? Now?
We don't.
Yes, they
but
do.
it's not
Police
instant.
do have communication.
Technically, it's instant, right?
So
Like,
by the way, the news can get helicopters there, but apparently the ICE can't do that and officers can't do that themselves.
Well, it's like, well,
I
it
don't
really needs to be
know
specified.
that-
Helicopters aren't really important. Here
Sorry.
again,
That's what he said.
those on the left have threatened ICE officers all around the country since they've taken on these enforcement actions, carrying out the mandate that was given to them by the American people. So obviously they have to take precautions. And when an
It's too
individual
fast.
is
Maybe
getting
I
into a
should.
vehicle,
Ah,
US
no,
citizen
this is
or not,
fine.
legally
Let
or
me
not,
make sure this
and
is
they
on.
are appearing as if they could cause bodily harm to a large group of officers. Maybe they're dead.
Yeah, they're kind of forced to take. I mean, not. They are kind of forced to take.
First of all, you said what about
What's
the
it? So they have to do something about it. A dude pulled up in this car. And then, you know, you just can't take the chance. Like.
child's birthday, all because he was trying to go to work.
He missed his child's birthday. I'm talking about these ICE agents having the possibility of being killed on the job.
He could have been killed on the job. And if you want to talk about ICE agents being killed, I mean, if you want to talk about
Okay, but he
people
wasn't
being
killed on the
ICE
job.
custody, so far in 2025, under the Trump administration,
Oh, yeah,
23 individuals have
23.
been killed in ICE custody. During the entire Biden administration, all 4 years, do you know how many
They were
people
killed
died?
or they died?
Either
We're
one.
using both- that's a big difference between killed and
Yeah,
died.
this
I mean,
is
it's
a big
negligence.
difference.
If someone is like,
No, killed or died are very
would they have
different
been alive if they were not in ICE custody? Would they have died if they were?
That's like saying, oh, well, these prisons are doing a terrible job because people are dying in them. Oh, yeah, the prisons are filled with a bunch of fucking psychopaths. And supposedly, these, I mean, I don't think everybody in there are criminals. But, like, listen, you're going to have criminals in there because that's one of the main demographic, like, they're after, is specifically illegal immigrants who committed crimes.
24 died.
That's because almost no people were in ICE custody during Biden's administration.
That is factually not true, and that's something that you guys always like to yell at us about.
You're
Biden did it too, but now he didn't.
So you're telling me that
he
was also deporting. You're telling me that the Trump administration has less people in ICE custody right now.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the Trump administration has already allowed for almost the exact same number of people to die in ICE custody than the Biden administration did.
I think the mistake you're making here that a lot of liberals do is that they're not looking at per capita. You're looking at the raw number. You need to look at how many people are in ICE custody under Trump right now compared to the amount of people that have died, and then look at the amount of people in Biden's custody during in ICE custody during Biden's term. I don't know. I don't know the exact.
But like your argument has to be that it's a 4-time difference. Other than it's not a point.
But my question is, how did these people die?
What?
Well,
Who said that?
They haven't told people. Like they aren't telling people how they.
So we don't know. They could have pre-existing conditions. They could have had an asthma attack. They could have had cancer. But
well, if they were detained and had an asthma attack.
See, a lot of this is they're bringing up claims and then they're like assuming stuff about it. Okay, well let's just make an assumption about this. And what about in this specific situation? And blah blah blah.
Killing of 24 individuals. So I really want to get to know about this because if that is true, because if that she later said that. But
okay,
let's go back to the problem. ICE has crossed the line from enforcement to abuse, violating constitutional rights and human dignity. I would say maybe on.
Question is, how did they die?
Here's the thing. I don't think people realize like they are getting warrants for their arrest. They're just not forced to show you like at all. They have no reason to show you, but they definitely have the arrest warrants. Let's see. So I don't necessarily. Sure, the human dignity thing is, yeah, that one's fair. I mean, like, they're literally just, like, fucking breaking into people, like, when they're in the cars and stuff in public. And, you know, to be fair, at least they're not going after people inside their private property. That would be a whole lot worse, in my opinion. Because that's, like, I mean, that would actually be a real violation, in my opinion.
Was it because of the negligence?
I love how you still don't want to actually acknowledge the comparison. In 4 years,
because I don't know if
1 year, the same amount of people have died in ICE custody, regardless of whether or not they died. That is a ridiculous jump. You don't see how that's an issue?
Yes,
if there are 4 times more likely people in ICE custody. Wait, so you're saying people are 4 times more likely to die under the Trump administration due to natural causes?
That is
they really want to talk about like, oh, well, this is really small minority number. Like, again, I get that the numbers are small, but it's just like. I'm excusing right now. I'm trying to get my point out, but I'm just but like I was thinking about this today. I just don't necessarily like her like framing it like, look how many people have died, 20. I'm like, but this is like literally like he's going after criminals and putting them in prison. This is in their prison camp. You call it whatever you want, but like it is their prison camp for this specific population of people. You call it what you want. It is discriminatory in a way. But also, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the demographic is like 90% Mexican and 10% is just a bunch of randoms, like as other.
I'm saying you are trying to make it seem as if the Trump administration is killing all these illegal aliens in their custody when you don't even know how
no, just more are dying in his
because more are being put in ICE custody because we're actually enforcing our immigration laws.
No, more are dying in ICE custody.
President, this is exactly what he ran on doing. You want to know how? You want to know what would have prevented them from dying in ICE custody? Them not invading our country illegally. They would have never been in ICE custody. They could have died in Slovenia.
I would not be doing that. That's a terrible. Okay. That is literally a terrible fucking.
They could have died in Slovenia.
What the fuck was it?
Check this out.
That's Slovenia.
Okay. So this is an ISIS problem. ISIS didn't cause for them to be.
But this is ISIS problem. If 4 times the amount of people are dying under ICE custody in the Trump
administration. I hate this. This is like the same Destiny argument of like, look, the measles epidemic is back. 1 person got it. It's like, dude, fuck off. Nobody is in like realistically. I just do not care about this really small minority of number of people who have died in ICE custody. That is a government problem, and the other people should be dealing with that. They should obviously like you're sitting here acting like we're agreeing with it when we're still just like. Again, you're trying to villainize a whole point. And if we're really looking at the numbers, they deported over like what 2 million people since Trump entered administration. And you're saying only 20 people died? I would be pretty fucking. I'm pretty fucking surprised it's not over 100, to be honest.
Versus the Biden administration, then this is more dangerous.
So like, it's just like why it's such a small percentage that she's talking about. That it's just like not even like this is not even like a real good argument.
Imaginary correlation between their deaths and the actions of the Trump administration. So should we not?
You already said the 20 people who suffered the death. I get it, dude. It's bad, but like
even if we don't have chronic illness,
you were trying to argue that natural circumstances, natural causes. Like
do I have to die for? Do I have to cry for everyone who's died in prison? Like no.
Times more people dying. No, that's not the case. Not only is that not. No, you were trying to make the argument that they could have died due to other circumstances. It could have
you don't have empathy. You don't have empathy for people I don't fucking know.
People died in their custody as if it was some indication.
23 have died under Trump administration. 24 died under Biden, but Trump has only been the president for 1 year, while Biden was the president for 4.
But you have no idea why they died. So I just want to establish that you have no idea why they died.
Maybe we should
okay. How about we take account all the people who died crossing the border and dealing with the coyotes and dealing with the cartel? How about we take it to that account and then we can talk about the numbers again? Who really caused more death of immigrants?
the reasons why everyone dies.
Stupid fucking point.
HIPAA? You want to violate
reason
HIPAA?
for the cause of death is not access to all of their medical records their entire
Yeah,
life.
I don't know how we're getting that. That's access to like literally the autopsy report. The point that I would like to make is that Trump has expanded expedited removal to a point that didn't exist under Obama. Right? Under Obama, it was within 2 weeks that you've been in the country and within 100 miles of the border. Since Trump's got in office, it's now within 2 years and anyone within the jurisdiction of the country. That's violating people's due process rights to a greater extent. I think that's bad. I think that's protected by the Constitution. And if Trump's going to undermine constitutionally protected rights to a greater extent, how can he say one of his main tenets in Agenda 47 is actually upholding the Constitution?
Well, I would say there's an argument to be made that illegal aliens should not even have.
I don't necessarily disagree with the fact that he's undermining rights. I think that's 100% true. If anybody's actually denying that, like, come on, man.
Well, see, until you're Supreme Court justice, it really doesn't matter.
I mean, I can bring up examples, but hold on, I'm dropping a bunch of shit.
Well, Supreme Court justices do decide what is constitutional. Yeah.
He's definitely undermining. Well, I'd say maybe not him, but at least the Republican Party is definitely, and the whole Republican GOP. So him in like transitive property terms, sure, he's literally undermining everybody's rights, especially in Texas. I think Greg Abbott tried to just declare a couple mosques as like was it terrorist groups or whatever. He tried to designate them as terrorists. I was like, what the fuck? And they didn't even do anything. It was just like totally unhinged.
Yes or no?
Yeah, but in terms of whether or not something should be made constitutional or unconstitutional, that would be.
Our bungo, like many of you, fucking.
It's hard. But I think what's important here, and is not hard, is the reason that the Trump administration had to undertake such aggressive enforcement action is because Biden was asleep at the wheel. He allowed these people. He was literally asleep at the wheel. Asleep.
Trump is literally tweeting while he drives, and Biden was asleep at the wheel.
The president doesn't drive. But what I will say though, as these people were invading our country, this is fun. As these people were invading our country at such a record rate, of course we have to accelerate enforcement actions. Of course we have to accelerate their removal because there are so many people here that should not be here. And so ICE is doing exactly what they are constitutionally empowered to do, which is deport.
I was trying to tell my friend this today. They're not beating the election rigging allegations. They're just quite frankly not at this point.
People without due process.
I don't think I don't even think, like the accusation that's only Democrats like was it rigging the elections. I don't even think that's like the case. I just think it's the whole government in on rigging these elections.
Wait, no, they're not. I just gave you an argument that.
No, I mean the oligarchy mainly. Honestly,
you didn't engage with that argument at all. You just said that they're being given due process. Federal courts have determined that they're not being given due process.
The oligarchy of private capital.
Why is Kilmar Garcia still in this country?
The whole thing was probably like money being inside of politics. That was like the bigger issue. Pause it. Oh.
He originally, Trump violated the order.
So you just said blankly they're not being given due process.
Well, he wasn't given due process originally, and everyone called him out on it. Yes, because he called out on it.
So he's been given due process.
Now,
so we agree he's been given due process.
That's one person being given due process does not mean everyone in the country has been given due process. I gave you an argument that demonstrated that they violated due process to a greater extent. I gave you explicit basis for that. They showed you a video of someone's constitutional rights being violated, explained literally how their constitutional rights are violated.
Here's the thing. I feel like compared to his first term, it was just like a whole lot worse compared to this time. So is it bad still? Yes, but it's definitely not.
They didn't get access to an attorney.
As
3 days, no charges. Do you think that's legal? Yeah. So the point was that his constitutional rights were being violated in that very video. The information that you were shown clearly indicated that. Say maybe you think that there's some other information that was there, right? You could say that. But are you saying no circumstance is it that they violated due process rights in the context of the United States since Trump got in office?
I'm saying I can't deduce that.
Here's the thing. Fucking leftists, bro. Like they'll go like, oh, I don't. In that video specifically, this is what happened. But then you show them like a video of like, let's say again, I'm sticking to the whole. Since I'm trying to stick to topic, at least with the immigration thing, it's just like you can show these dudes literally like 1,000 people crossing in, and it'll be like, it wasn't even that much. What are you talking about? Like, there's no winning with them.
We seem to disagree on the constitutional rights that are awarded to undocumented immigrants, and also apparently
awarded. What do you mean undocumented rights? Oh, what? Wait, what?
Are awarded to
constitutional rights awarded. What do you mean awarded?
Undocumented immigrants, and also apparently legal residents trying to go to work. But when all is said and done,
I think they have just this mentality of like America is this country for every single person on earth to escape from because we're freedom. And I'm like,
no one is supporting an open border policy.
I don't know, man. Maybe you should come and be legal immigrant, and then when you become citizens, you should start being able to own all the property and start that stuff, and then maybe you actually will like really like they'll lock down on your rights. Like these are your rights, 100%.
Okay.
And just a few minutes ago, Adam said to our daughters, your mom's going to be the governor of
Blue
Virginia.
Wave.
I've spoken with thousands of you.
Blue Wave is just a pure failure of the fucking Republican Party. They deserved it.
I know your dreams. So serving you is worth any tough fight I have to take on, and I am incredibly honored to be your next governor.
Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it.
This speech was alright.
The blue wave in recent elections proves Americans are rejecting Trump-era policies and embracing progressive change.
Yeah, so I do think that this indicates that Democrats are doing better.
I hate her.
Races.
Oh
I
my
don't
god,
necessarily
dude.
think that indicates that they're supporting a
I
certain
was
type of
saying,
progressive policy.
blue wave in a recent election proves Americans are rejecting Trump-era policies and embracing progressive change. I agree with that.
You know, it's shifting more against Trump, and I think that that's a good thing.
I don't know why they're saying. Why are they
disagreeing?
disagreeing?
Divorce from reality. If you look at these past elections, right? You have Virginia, not the blue state, New Jersey.
I'd say. I think people are more skeptical about the blue wave. I don't know if it's proof that they're rejecting Trump-era policies. It's more like he's not fulfilling the Trump-era policies.
That's a blue state. New York City, that's a blue city. In the state of Virginia, you haven't had a Republican that's running for president win that state since 2004. New Jersey, reliably blue. New York City, well, it's New York City. And so I'm not surprised to see that those people are not necessarily the biggest fans of President Trump, but that doesn't necessarily speak to any national trends that are going on. If you actually look at the president's approval rating, even during the shutdown, according to CNN, Harry Enton said his approval rating actually went up during this period because people were pointing blame to the Democrats for holding America's government hostage. And so, no, I don't think that this is an indication of anything to be worried about. This is not a midterm election. This was just some random election in an off year.
Has the mayor of New York ever been a progressive Muslim who's anti-Zionist?
It's been a progressive in Bill de Blasio. So,
but a progressive Muslim who's also anti-Zionist. I think that being anti-Zionist is something that's also new. That specifically.
And he's a Muslim. He's my Muslim king.
Allah. By the voting, when we see the New York mayor specifically being in the most Jewish city in America, I'm pretty sure, literally an anti-Zionist candidate. So I think that's obviously showing a change, and it is showing that people are rejecting Trump.
The anti-Zionist is more important.
Change. That's quite literally exactly what it is. And this is also, I think, a step up in terms of progressive values, as he calls himself a democratic socialist. Did the prior candidate call themselves a socialist?
I think that Bill de Blasio certainly ran on democrat socialist policies, and I think if you want to talk about Zionism, we can talk about how AIPAC was also historically supportive of Abigail Spanberger. AIPAC historically supported Mikey Sherrill. So, and also too, Zionism isn't a political ideology that's confined to either the left or the right. There are people who identify as Zionists on both the left and the right. So I'm not sure how Trump.
It's 100% true. You fucking retard. 95% of Congress is bought out. Like they're not. Like 90% of.
Unique different change in the party that they're adopting progressive because.
I will say it's definitely more right leaning though because again, leftists tend to be anti-God.
That's all I was trying to demonstrate to you. That it wasn't just
literally the only reason why they're standing up for Islam because they. They literally just party like just standing up for any minority. It's just it's childish.
Which we'll get into. But I do want to go back to Trump's approval rating because I've actually
if they do
quite the opposite statistic, especially.
I miss the spiritual left when they're hippies.
Down, especially during the government.
They're better.
And I think that what these wins represent, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily an ideological shift.
They experimental hippies and fooled them with LSD.
A frustration that Trump has not come through with any of his legitimate campaign promises, and the cost of living for a lot of Americans has increased. I know you guys don't actually care about whether or not people are hungry and have clothing or health care.
God, this dumb bitch.
In the last prompt, but the majority of us do. I mean, the cost of food has increased. The cost of most home goods has increased.
Oh my god, the snarkiness, the dumb bitchiness. I hate her.
That Trump has not come through with any of his legitimate campaign promises, and the cost of living for a lot of Americans has increased. I know you guys don't.
I don't disagree with that. But again, right here, like, why are you just being a snarky bitch?
Not people are hungry and have clothing or health care, since you didn't in the last prompt. But the majority of us do. I mean, the cost of food has increased. The cost of most home goods has increased, and people are really feeling that. It almost feels like the price of everything is going up.
Again, this whole basis of, oh well, you don't care about any of this stuff because you're a right winger, and clearly the last prompt proves it. It's like, what are you talking about?
Our paychecks. And I think people are starting to just have enough of it. I mean, Wall Street has their whole Trump always.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with their opinion, but I just disagree with like Toyshi's like expressing it.
And I think people are starting to realize that Trump's policies, especially on
economics. Did you just say 100,000 people are starving? What? No fucking way.
It has their whole Trump always chickens out thing about the tariffs. He's been back and forth. He won't shut up on Truth Social. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of people across the country are starving.
Dude, they were literally starving from the fucking government shutdown when they weren't getting paid for 2 months. The government shutdown that the Democrats voted against multiple times. Like, what was it? 14 times they voted against opening up the government, and they literally went on media and went, "Hey, you not getting paid is our leverage." And then they lost. And then he gave them what they wanted, but he gave them double. It was just like a complete clown show.
People are starting to realize that Trump's policy.
Not about that, but what is it? Trump-era policy progressive.
Especially on economics.
I still agree with her,
not
honestly.
Working in favor of who he promised they would work for. Farmers and small businesses have been reaching out to Trump constantly.
I mean, I think my stance has always been the libertarian take of like, why these whole industries are failing is because they are funding A, the war, and B, all these AI companies. They're like, and also like he's more engaged in foreign policy than actual like, American policy. So I think most people aren't. Most people are for progressive change. That's what, or at least like progressive taxation and stuff. People are just not for the government interference. I feel like that's why most people say, at least conservatives say, they're small L libertarian. But again, they end up being conservative just because they can't stand on fucking principle. They can't stand on libertarian principle. because they're a bunch of fucking hypocrites, just
He's
like
not listening to them.
modern
And
day
not only is he not listening
progressives.
to them, but then he goes on in his speeches and he goes, the economy is doing so great, everyone's so happy right now, and it's just not true. It's so frustrating. Not only is he making it so much harder for us, but then he sits around and lies to us and won't even admit how much more difficult it is for the average American consumer right now. Like, that is, everyone I think is just getting kind of fed up with that. The proof is in the pudding. Numbers don't lie. Bills don't lie. A bill will break your heart.
Yeah, right. Numbers don't lie, and what we do actually see in those numbers is that the cost of things like eggs, everyday goods, are going down steadily month over month. And so I would push back on that claim. I would also push back on the claim that we don't care about the cost of living in this country. I cared about the cost of living in this country when I voted for President Trump in November of 2024.
Here's the thing. Honestly, I could care less about the cost of living at the end of the day. Of course, do I not want to be fucking priced out of life? Obviously not. But here's the thing. If you want to support American business, you are going to have to pay a higher price. It's going to be like a higher price than getting your cheaply made like Chinese product made by a child. Like, you're not going to the market is not going to outcompete China's labor policies because they're terrible and they don't care about the people compared to America, where, you know, most day-to-day workers getting paid like pretty well and treated pretty well, and their work conditions are pretty good.
Saw record high inflation under President Joe Biden.
It's going to cost more, especially trying to make manufacture anything in America is just so hard. Like,
I will say I do care about bringing these costs.
I genuinely don't mind, like, if like the first Trump era, like the tariffs that hit, like everything in like Target went up. Okay, why the fuck is anyone still going to Target at this point? Like, you in terms of actually trying to be healthy, even for grocery shopping though, like I don't even know why you'd go for Target unless for like a couple things, you know. But most of everything there is just filled with like shit. Like, if you're just a regular guy, single, chick, single, at school, I'll try to appeal to like people my age. Like, just go to fucking Trader Joe's. Just go to Trader Joe's and buy the rest of your shit off Amazon. Like, what are you doing? Like, you let these fucking big corporations just die. Like, they've been scamming people for so fucking long.
Socialism is not the solution to that. So Zoran Mamdani, you want to say, you know, is a solution to those problems. Look at every place in the world where socialism has been attempted, it has failed. Those people go hungry. Those people are starving. And if you really want to stop starvation,
I'm not gonna say corporations have been scamming us for super long. I mean, broadly, for sure. But it's just like, you know, if you ever actually go to a real farmer's market, like, just food is so much cheaper there. Somehow, it's local. A local farmer's market, the food will be cheaper, 100%. And we need to bring that back en masse.
The type of democratic socialism that Zoran Mamdani is
really
supporting
support farm workers and agriculture.
So now we're differentiating socialism.
The type of democratic socialism that Zoran Mamdani is supporting is that of the Scandinavian countries that call themselves democratic.
So now we're differentiating socialism.
Yes, there is different ideologies within socialism. Let me clarify. There's different ideologies within socialism, absolutely. So obviously you can't prescribe socialism as just one ideology. That would be ridiculous. I'm not a socialist, but you have to acknowledge that's absurd.
But dude, the Scandinavian countries are basically little kids on a playground.
You're all just a bunch of fucking communists at the end of the day.
Them through NATO, yes, and the ones who aren't even in NATO, we still do protect them because they know that we'll protect them. I mean, I'm pretty sure
they want to be like, oh, why you call me communist? Try saying bad things about me. Okay, but if you ask any fucking socialist, like, the end goal, why are you a socialist specifically? It's because they are trying to add, like, oh, well, I don't think communism is gonna happen in my lifetime, but I'll still put forward the policies that could push forward, because really, stateless and a classless and a moneyless society sounds perfect. Like, these are all at the cost of liberties. Like, this is what happened 9 times over. They're all at the cost of personal liberties.
We are spending the most of our.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
Most countries don't meet the 2% threshold. I think Germany.
That's not true.
I'm sorry. Economically, we are just not holding their hand. Like, we're not funding the democratic socialist programs that allow for those countries.
No. But what we're doing though is
we're not doing.
We're essentially
the only country that we fund in that way would be Israel, actually.
We're essentially funding their. I mean, I kind of agree with you. I'll go back to that when we talk about the Nick Fuentes thing and Tucker Carlson. But with the Scandinavian countries though, the only reason they're able to put a lot of their tax dollars into all these great programs like the free healthcare and the free education is because they live in La La Land, because we protect them and they don't need to have a military that can actually protect them.
Not only do they have a military, but they spend a proportional amount to how much we spend in terms of a percentage.
No, they do not.
Actually, they've changed. The point you're making there isn't true anymore. There's been a vast change. Most NATO countries meet that 2% threshold.
Because the President Trump demanding that they do.
No, and Biden. You can't just say that. Wait, it was actually mostly increased under Biden. I know you don't want to accept that. That's reality. Because of Russia-Ukraine. But yes, it has nothing to do with Trump.
That's not Trump.
It has nothing to do with Trump then. It has everything to do with Russia-Ukraine. So that's the reason why they're increasing the NATO funding. So you have to realize.
So once they're under attack, they increase their spending.
But they've done so, and yet they've cut these programs, and they're still feeding kids. How are they feeding children then if they're still able to put that money into NATO? If they're still able to meet those GDP
What the fuck was I supposed to do?
Now, through pressure from the United States threatening to pull out of NATO, they are going to put up that 2% minimum. But the thing is we go way above that 2% minimum. I don't personally know exactly what the number is, but it is multitude higher than the 2% minimum. minimum. We protect all these European countries so they can go play around in La La Land and have their free healthcare and have their free education. But the thing is if we were to pull out of NATO, these countries would go crap, and they're going to triple their military spending, and they would have to take back funding from their free healthcare and their free education.
I'm sorry, who is at war with Norwegia, though? They're not even, like, in active combat.
And
Like,
the reason why they're not is because we protect them. Russia has not invaded Poland or Lithuania or a lot of the Baltic states because they know the United States
understand
would
that
jump in.
Europe would step up together, and also U.S. being involved doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only reason why they're able to do these programs. We have the ability to fund these programs in the United States. We just choose not to because we give massive tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. We spend $900 billion a year on the military budget. If we took just 1/10 of our military budget, we do free universal schools, right, for people to get access to in terms of free public universities. That would be something that we can do. We can also feed everyone.
He's got to talk so fucking fast. Holy shit, dude.
But with the Scandinavian countries, though, the only reason they're able to put a lot of their tax dollars into all these great programs like free healthcare,
normally not only do they have a military, but they spend a proportional amount to how much we spend in terms of a percentage.
No,
of
they
GDP.
do not.
Actually, they've changed. The point they're making there isn't true anymore. There's been a vast change. Most NATO countries meet that 2% threshold.
Because of President Trump demanding that they do.
No, and Biden. You can't just say that. Wait, it was actually mostly.
I want him out of NATO.
I know you don't want to accept that. That's reality. Because of Russia.
I want America out of NATO.
That's not Trump.
Wait, then it has nothing to do
I
with
want
Trump.
independence.
Russia, Ukraine. So that's the reason why they're increasing the NATO funding. So you have to realize.
So once
these
they're
countries
under attack, they increase their spending. If we
but
run
they've done so, and yet they've cut these programs. They're still feeding kids. How are they feeding children then if they're still able to put that money into NATO? If they're still able to meet those GDP thresholds?
Well, I mean, yeah, some of the countries now through pressure from the United States threatening to pull out of NATO, they are going to put up that 2% minimum. But the thing is we go way above that 2% minimum. I don't personally know exactly what the number is, but it is multitudes higher than the 2% minimum. We protect all these European countries so they can go play around in La La Land and have their free healthcare and have their free education. But the thing is if we were to pull out of NATO, these countries would go crap, and they're going to triple their military spending, and they would have to take back funding from their free healthcare and their free education.
I'm sorry, who is at war with Norwegia, though? They're not even, like, in active combat.
And
Like,
the reason why they're not is because we protect them. Russia has not invaded Poland or Lithuania or a lot of the Baltic states because they know the United States would jump in.
Europe would step up together, and also U.S. being involved doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only reason why they're able to do these programs. We have the ability to fund these programs in the United States. We just choose not to because we give massive tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. We spend $900 billion a year on the military budget. If we took just 1/10 of our military budget, we do free universal schools, right, for people to get access to in terms of free public universities. That would be.
I agree with the cutting for the military budget. Like, realistically, that's what everybody really should want is cutting from the military budget. Even though, like, oh, why would you ever want? We already have the biggest military ever. That being said, you don't. I think maybe he's asking too. How much of a cut was he asking for? Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
3 days?
Yeah, then why was he staying for 3
The
days?
cops do not know if he has a bomb in there.
Snap! I don't care about Snap.
Invaded Poland or Lithuania or a lot of the Baltic states because they know the United States would jump in.
Europe would step up together, and also U.S. being involved doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only reason why they're able to do these programs. We have the ability to fund these programs in the United States. We just choose not to because we give massive tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. We spend $900 billion.
I don't really. It's not about the massive tax breaks. It's about the spending.
If we took just 1/10 of our military budget, we do free universal schools, right, for people to get access to in terms of free public universities. That would be something that we can do. We can also feed everyone, and we can also get extra money from the tax cuts we're giving to millionaires and billionaires, and we can give that to literally people's healthcare.
20% of the U.S. military budget, just the military budget alone, could end world hunger in 5 years.
Parker, you said that the reason we don't fund those programs is because, we are wanting to give all these tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. I think the reason we don't fund those programs is because we see that they don't work. Look at Canada, where we have single-payer healthcare, where people are waiting like months and months.
Canada
and months
became a state-sponsored killing machine, didn't it?
For elective procedures because of how failed and congested their healthcare system.
Poor
is.
Canada.
I don't think that's one we should subject our citizens to. And so that's
I'm not necessarily against universal healthcare. It's just more like in my situation, I had Medicare before Medi-Cal, and it fucking sucks. They just make you take like every time you go to a doctor, they'll just be like, all right, change your diet, you'll be fine. I'll see you in a month, and we'll see how things are still going. And you just keep me updated, and I'll prescribe you stuff, and then they don't prescribe you the stuff. And meanwhile, like, even when you think Medi-Cal is actually gonna be like cheaper for like stuff, and it's like, oh well, I'm not actually going to the doctor that much, so they're not really gonna cover a lot of stuff, and they're not really gonna like realistically, Medi-Cal should just become they should be covering fucking wisdom teeth extraction full on. Just saying. That's me. Cause man, bro, I'd pay a lot. But overall, it's just like there's a point where I'm like, why am I on this shit program? Like, yeah, this program could be better. I'm all for Medicare reform and Medicare change, but they would never let anybody actually do any change to the program to cut out any of the bad bullshit, unless they decree it's bad bullshit. Like, so it's kind of a quick situation when it comes to Medicare. And at the end of the day, why would you even want state-sponsored like healthcare? Like, I just wouldn't trust it at the end of the day. And sure, like, okay, well. What you want, honestly, is just, again, free market that's actually regulated. And if anybody actually thinks the market's regulated right now, you're clowning yourself completely. I just closed Opera. God damn it. There's a big difference between a regulated market and a state-controlled market.
3 days?
Yeah, then why was he staying for 3
The cops
days?
do not know if he has a bomb in there, if he has a gun.
In 3 days?
They couldn't figure that out in 3 days?
Without access to an attorney?
But now let me get to that. I don't know the specific details on that.
We do!
Well, I don't know the specific details as to the
in the world, and we can take care of everybody's access to college, right? If they
Does that not devalue a degree if everyone has
I agree with the call.
not necessarily. So if you look at countries around the world that have these,
The degree. We're really gonna talk about the degree being devalued? Like, holy shit, dude.
Still have large benefits from going and getting access to education because not everyone chooses to do that. Some people could decide to go into trade, some people decide to go into other fields, and yet still, specifically, people are not restricted in their access to education on the basis of not being able to afford it. That's creating an economy where there's more social mobility. So if you look at those countries, those Scandinavian countries, they have more social mobility, they have more human freedom, and they have more market freedom. Actually, if you look at the economic. Okay, but like you can compare them to the states in the United States. So if you think that this needs to be applied on a statewide basis, well then take their policy, apply it in Iowa, and then you can do that for each state. You can do it by each county or whatever you want to do. But actually, if you have a larger population for an insurance pool, it actually becomes more cost effective because of economies of scale.
Then if that does work, as you say that it does, why has it not been attempted in California, which is one of the largest economies in the world? Well, why is Gavin Newsom not taxing people into oblivion, all these tech companies that are based here?
Dude, if I would literally never vote for Democrat in California, because why would any person in California actually want their taxes to go up? If they're literally trying to convince you, oh, don't worry, just we'll raise the taxes, and at the end of the day, California is a scum shit, piece of shit fucking state. They're just gonna raise consumer taxes. Like, that is exactly what they're gonna do. Consumer taxes are gonna go up 100%.
Hey, why is he not taking that approach?
So actually, they do fund education here in here in California a lot. It's not universal quite yet, but like they specifically do, like 80% of Cal States are funded specifically by the state government. Plus, there are alternatives that you can go to, like the community college that I went to. I could have gone for 2 years for free, specifically because I live in California and I live in the area that I do.
And tuition is so much lower in California.
Yeah, for community colleges. So that's the type of investment.
Yeah, community colleges are pretty cheap, but community colleges are dog shit. That's what they're leaving out.
Quite yet, but like they specifically do.
And community dog shits are gonna really give you anything sort of degree. I mean, if you're just going for a 2-year degree, I think it's helpful. But like, if you're actually trying to go for like something like real change or anything like that, it's not actually gonna be helpful.
% of Cal States are funded specifically by the state government. Plus, there are
because I mean, again, it's just like the starter.
Okay,
it's a starter to higher education. But the community college is pretty. Like, if you're just trying to get classes done, not too bad. But there's a big difference between that and university in Cal States.
It actually becomes more cost effective because of economies of scale.
Then if that does work, as you say that it does, why is it not in California, which is one of the largest economies in the world? Well, why is Gavin Newsom not taxing people into oblivion, all these tech companies that are based here in Palo Alto, in the Bay? Why is he not taking that approach?
So actually, they do fund education here in California a lot. It's not universal quite yet, but like they specifically do, like 80% of Cal States are funded specifically by the state government. Plus, there are alternatives.
Here's an idea, guys. How about you just fund every single American citizen's education, and then charge the immigrants for more, and there you go.
Go to like the community college that I went to, I could have gone for 2 years.
You know what's crazy is they made the change so that people outside the state have to pay more to go to college in California, but apparently if you're a foreigner, it doesn't apply to you if you're a foreigner. Isn't that weird?
Specifically because I live in California, I live in the area that I do.
And tuition is so much lower in California.
Yeah, for community colleges. So that's the type of investment that I want to see, is investing in our education, investing in specializations.
Well, California is all retarded, by the way, including me. But we're statistically the most retarded state.
So we actually have a meritocratic system. Right now, we don't have that meritocratic system because people.
I'm not trying to hate on us. I mean, listen, we just got a lot of league players in our state. That's all. We got a lot of Street Fighter tisms in here, and they're gonna pop off. They're not ready for the esports. Saudi Arabia versus California esports is gonna go fucking crazy. Let's just say that.
Somebody's got to make the food. Somebody's got to be the farmer. Someone's got to be the miner. Somebody's got to be the textile worker, right? I mean, you could outsource this to a bunch of people in third world countries like Bangladesh and have them do that work. But like, if you really care about people, you're not going to say, well, I just want to see my country do very well and everyone has white collar jobs, and we're just going to outsource the crappy jobs to Bangladesh or India.
Wait, so your point is that we should hold on. But your point is that we should make college less affordable and make sure people have less access to higher education to ensure that we have enough American workers to work in what you just called crappy jobs.
No, not everybody can work a white collar job. Society doesn't function if everybody's on a computer.
I agree, but you just called these other jobs crappy jobs.
They are.
Make it so it's harder for Americans to get good jobs and easier for them to get what you just called crappy jobs.
Well, I'd say something like factory work, textile work.
You just called those crappy.
I think all work is noble work, but here's what I'll say. If you look at New York City, what was the demographic of people that Mamdani actually did the best with? Higher educated people with college degrees who are upset at the world because they got a crappy college degree, probably studying women's studies or some other type of bullshit, and now they can't afford to live. So I think we talked about today the difference between kind of what a blue wave is or what that actually foreshadows, or if it foreshadows anything. I guess that remains to be seen. We also talked a little bit about what contributed to that blue wave or the results of this past election, whether it was the cost of everyday goods in certain cities across the country, or whether or not it's about just the affordability crisis that we're having here in America. Lots of disagreements about that, but we all agree it's a very important issue.
Late tonight, the Trump administration asked the Supreme Court to immediately pause a federal judge's ruling that required the administration to fully fund SNAP for the month of November. And we just got word from the Supreme Court that
I don't care about SNAPs, to be honest. I know people on EBT. I don't know if I heard they're gutting EBT, but I think the only people who really deserve EBT are probably college students. And that's really the only people I know using EBT, but I know a lot more people are on it. But again, the problem is you can't just immigrate a bunch of lower class people here, and then again, it's just like you It's clearly a waste of money.
Nearly 42 million Americans that rely on
I see EBT benefits all the time around here, like most fast food places. Most places I see put a sign up that says we take EBT. It's mostly in the worser places.
the show talking about children, seniors, or people with disabilities, families across the country.
The Trump administration blocking SNAP benefits is a reasonable way to prevent unnecessary spending during the shutdown.
Okay, yeah, no, I would disagree. I don't think that it's reasonable to block people's access to food. It's a...
What is it? Benefits is a reasonable way to prevent unnecessary spending during the shutdown. I don't even know why they're saying yes on this, to be honest. There's no way in the same bill you could have it so it's... What? Is it cutting out this and funding more? I mean, did they fund it? Let me look that up. I don't know if they funded Israel in that bill. Let's see. My chat GPT, where my GPT at? The big beautiful bill 2025. Was there any funding to Israel? You be honest with me. Yes. Major defense spending. Next thing. 100 to 150 billion compared to prior caps over the next 10 years. That is fucking disgusting, bro. Hey, look at this. Oh, here we go. It shows specifically. Let's see, cyber 380 to cybersecurity is a House pass. Which department here would be in charge? Well, technically, these are all going to enhance Department of Defense resource for air superiority, enhancement to resources for nuclear forces. Oh yeah, these are all good. Oh god. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, no, I don't get how these guys are agreeing with that. A reasonable way to prevent. Listen, I agree with. I think they're definitely blowing it out of proportion. I'll say that because there's definitely some fat asses in fucking California. Not in California. Doesn't America have the highest obesity rate? Like, why are we actually talking about this? Like, what?
Basic necessity for life. There are other things that Trump could have cut. He could have increased taxes on corporations. He could have cut from the military spending budget, and he decided not to. He decided to cut food.
How can he do that?
How can he do that?
Well, actually, one thing I would look at is that
I think
really
you can
that
make
he's asking the Supreme Court.
I definitely agree with SNAP or EBT reform or something. SNAP is mainly for buying food. I think EBT is for like going to a grocery store, right? I don't know exactly the difference, to be honest. Let's say they're one of the same. Whatever.
Because it's really emergency funding that they can use.
I have too much of an opinion on this. I don't really care about it, to be honest.
Do so, but he asked the Supreme Court to allow or to not allow this funding to go out. So really, it looks like what he's trying to do is he's trying to utilize the starvation of tens of millions of Americans to try to get Democrats to force.
Oh my god, I literally hate the fucking way they're framing this. It's so dishonest.
Which is specifically, I think, very, very harmful.
Well, I would disagree with the entire premise of that argument, right? If Democrats, progressives want EBT benefits to flow, then reopen the government. Stop holding America's hostage.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Down to extract political wins from this.
That's what I was
talking
about.
The majority in the House did their job. They passed the CR to keep the government open, to keep our troops paid, to keep EBT benefits continuing to flow in these communities.
And them keeping the government shut down for 2 months, they made people go on SNAP and EBT benefits when they get. Did they get cut or something during it? I forget exactly what happened. That's crazy.
For people and stop putting political partisanship.
Think about it too much, actually.
Simple as that. You made an argument earlier where you said that the president could unilaterally raise taxes. He can't do that. That's basic civics. Congress can't just. The presidency cannot just raise taxes on Americans.
Do you want to respond? May I respond?
Yeah,
okay, well, there's two things that we want. We want people to have access to food, and we also want people to have access to health care. 24 million Americans are.
I feel like these fucking idiots are like full on ignoring the big elephant in the room, where it's just like California is like going fucking broke and all our money is going missing. It's just like, why would you want to up taxes when you know they're not going to the right places and all the politicians are corrupt? Like
higher premiums on their healthcare. This could make it so that they literally just cannot afford to have healthcare. I believe both healthcare and food are a human right. So that's the issue. Trump is forcing us to decide whether or not we
food doesn't exist anymore in today's America.
So, and the idea is that he has influence over Republicans. So it is the case that he could tell Republicans to rather instead
People.
of utilizing this.
If you literally can't budget, you're retarded.
And especially even so in terms of.
No, I'm kidding. I'm retarded. I'm retarded. I can't budget. Who am I? What am I saying?
On the ACA extended subsidies.
That being said, like, come on, bro.
They're
Literally overreacting.
Put that into 2-year extensions, which is actually what was voted on today, and it was the case.
The only people starving out here are people with drug addictions, to be honest.
Argentina, and they care about actually giving, funding for subsidies in terms of reducing people's healthcare premiums for American citizens.
40 billion Argentina.
The unemployed and drug addictions.
I'll let you go. Yeah, so I was just going to go back. You said that food is a human right, but I would ask, is it really the job of the federal government to feed?
I agree. SAP should be going to the unemployed. Definitely shouldn't be going to the unemployed and drug addicted, though.
Exactly. So you are forcing people through taxes, because that's what taxation is. You are forcing people via gunpoint or the threat of going into prison. Yes, that's what taxes are. Don't pay your taxes. See what happens when the IRS knocks on your door. They'll either throw you in jail, hold you at gunpoint if you try to resist. Right? That's what happens. Taxes are forced. So you are forcing people to pay for other people's food.
So you would rather people die? You would rather 42 million people die than have access?
What do you mean? 42 million? Where are you getting this number from? What the fuck? Like, oh my god. Like, I'm sorry, 42.
I don't think 42 million people are going to die, but these 42 million people, maybe if they're hungry, they're going to want to work for once because they'll have hunger pains and they'll go, wait, maybe I should actually start working.
Again, like, this is like the same, like, there's always a Democratic 42 million people are going to die. 137 people died. This many people died. That many people died. But they won't You really want to start death counting? You really want to start total death counting? We can look at what Democratic policies have done. And we can look at the death count. It's not just neocons.
Right? They physically can't. They legally cannot have.
Exactly why
it's literally not just neocons. Like, I can't. Retard.
Partisan games and allow these children to be fed. Allow our veterans to get the benefits that they need. That is what's happening right here. The premise of the prompt is even incorrect. The Trump administration is not blocking SNAP because they view it as a reasonable way to prevent unnecessary spending. They're forced to do so because of the games the Democrats are playing. They're keeping our government shut down.
They're not forced to do so. They could have just allowed for.
Sam just oh yeah. So I totally ignored the last part during this prompt. During the shutdown. Oh yeah, perfectly reasonable.
People have access to healthcare. That's also an option.
Yeah, it's an option that they've rejected. It's an option that they've rejected. We control.
Why did they reject
We have a majority in the Senate. If Chuck
perfectly reasonable. The only people who should have got the SNAP benefits were the federal workers. So yeah, that is pretty bad.
What we're saying here is that if the Democrats want EBT benefits to flow, then reopen the government.
But I'm asking you, how do you morally justify allowing 24 million Americans to go without healthcare, to risk losing their healthcare?
I think there are many solutions to this issue that we need to be talking about that are bigger than just ACA subsidies, bigger than the.
You know, honestly, these people need to learn how to fucking tough it out. I've toughed it out without healthcare for like 2 years, okay? You just have to be healthy, which I was not. But quite frankly, if you want the system to build itself back up, you need to let it fall.
Can you answer the question?
And you can't always just have big daddy government coming to bail it out. You can't have big government daddy coming to bail out banks. You can't have them bailing out insurance companies. You need to let these insurance companies fail the fuck out.
You don't like the way that I answered the question.
Because you haven't answered it.
So I would like to chime in on that. How can you morally justify forcing every American taxpayer to pay for 24 million other people's food?
Easily, malnutrition, you'll die. Also, it's not 24 million people's food, it's 24 million people's healthcare. It's 42 million people's food.
I think both sides are advocating for taxation. It's really about where that taxation is placed. And Donald Trump advocates for tariffs, which have a.
Well, I think our side would argue for a lot less taxation. Maybe not the Republican Party, because I identify as a conservative Christian, not as a Republican, because I believe the Republican Party does not stand for the values in which I have, in which we should have incredibly low taxation and very low benefits given out by the federal government.
As a more libertarian.
If we were to have such a very low tax rate,
I agree.
We would have extra money to spend, more jobs would open up. These 42 million Americans that are lazy, that don't want to
agree.
work, whose kids are being fed.
I agree.
Dollars, like they would actually.
I'm agreeing with this guy a lot, actually.
42 million. There's 60 million children. There's elderly. There's children. They're disabled. You're calling these people lazy?
It's unfortunate, but these old people should have planned in advance for their future. I actually don't believe.
Okay, yeah, now that one's crazy.
You're
Fuck
calling
you.
yourself a Christian, and you have no empathy for 42 million
Didn't
people.
Jesus give out food for free?
Wow.
Well, yes, but he wasn't forcing people to give out food. He didn't say, Peter, come here. I'm gonna forcibly take some of your food and give it to this poor bum over here.
Well, again, don't use that word. So, like, again, the reality. Listen, the reality of the matter.
Don't use it. Did he just say don't use the word bum? Are you? You're a fucking bum. I can't. I can't stand these two.
Is that we're using taxation either way. It's about where the taxation is placed. If you go for Republicans, they are going to disproportionately be taxing lower and middle income individuals through the usage of tariffs. Tariffs are taxes. But if you're talking specifically about Democrats, they want to ease the burden specifically on the working class and ease the burden on people who are in the lower middle class, and they're specifically trying to raise taxes on those on income over $400,000 a year. So I would prefer those getting taxed on income over $400,000 a year.
I would push back on the framing of the tariffs. You said it was a tax on lower income individuals. It's not a tax on them. It's a tax on imports into our country. It's a tax on foreign nations, not people from.
But who pays for the increased spending on those imports?
I've heard a lot of. I need to learn more about the tariff arguments are a tough one to figure out, in my opinion, because I've heard a lot of things. But I do know overall. I mean, it is bad, but I think in the long term, it's still pretty beneficial. That's still my kind of opinion. Because at some point you have to detach from China. You have to detach from all this foreign interest, and then those policies are protectionist policies. So
I would push back on the framing of the tariffs. You said it was a tax on lower-income individuals. It's not a tax on them. It's a tax on imports into our country. It's a tax on foreign nations, not people
But
from.
who pays for the increased spending on those imports?
But again, as I
and the thing is also the fact that these tariffs happen means that the progressive taxation needs to happen because you need to put these tariffs to good use, which is clearly not.
The framing is incorrect.
It's going towards AI and funding Israel.
Shoved onto consumers.
Oh my god, we're fucking cooked.
We agree that it's a tax on against foreign countries.
Who's buying the foreign goods?
No, let me explain to you what a tariff is. A tariff is a tax on imported goods. Right with that. But the issue is that's paid by the American importing business, and it's passed down to the consumer mostly because it's an aspect of cost of production and distribution, and it's not placed on the profits. So you're misunderstanding tariffs, and you think that the money is coming from foreign countries.
The money is coming from foreign countries.
No, it's not.
No
economist would agree with you. I have a degree in economics. Tell me how you think the revenue is coming from foreign countries.
He had to flex his degree real quick. You fricker!
Production and distribution, and it's not placed on the profit.
We agree on income over 40. I would push back on the framing of the tariffs. You said it was a
Let me
tax
slow this
on
down.
lower-income
I'm,
individuals.
I gotta.
It's a tax on imports into our countries. It's a tax.
Okay.
Taxation. Maybe not the Republican Party because I identify as a conservative Christian, not as a Republican.
Oh god,
the Republican Party does not.
All of them are elderly. You're calling 42 million. There's 60 million children. There's elderly. There's children. They're disabled. You're calling these people lazy?
It's unfortunate, but these old people should have planned in advance for their future. I actually don't believe.
You call yourself a Christian and you have no empathy for 42 million
Didn't
people.
Jesus give out food for free?
Wow.
Well, yes, but
Here's the thing. I really like. What is it? Yeah. Honestly, for once, I really agree with them. Like, what is this opinion? Like, well, fuck these old people. Honestly, they should have planned it ahead of time. Like, at least like. We can have some policies in place to help like old people. At least the ones actually struggling. Like most of them are just boomers who have like everything they could ever want in the world, just complaining. So
wasn't forcing people to give out food. I'm gonna say, Peter, come here. You're gonna.
But like come on, like there are a lot of old people who need help, and like once you're hitting the age of like 38, 39, you're effectively worked out of the workforce. I mean, honestly, for like a regular job, you're out of the workforce by 32 if you don't have a career. Maybe, yeah. Or just the general workforce, at least here. I mean, if you don't have a degree at all, then you're fucked completely. But if you get a degree, then you'll be fine. But just go to college at the end of the day. Like, who cares?
Give it to this poor bum over here.
Well, again, don't use that word. So, like, again, the reality. Listen, the reality of the matter is that we are using taxation either way. It's about where the taxation is placed.
The poor bum thing is funny.
We're going to disproportionately be taxing lower and middle income individuals with the usage of tariffs. Tariffs are taxes. But if you're talking specifically about Democrats, they want to ease the burden specifically on the working class and ease the burden on people who are in the low.
Again, he's just throwing out slogans.
On those on income over $400,000 a year. So I would prefer those getting taxed on income over $400,000 a year.
Again, it's depending on like how much are we talking about, what is it going to, and the bigger question is how can we actually make sure the funds are going to the proper places? That is what nobody in these fucking debates talk about. You can talk about economics all you want, but like if you're not actually talking about where's the money going, like what's this fucking debate even about? Like the tax debate doesn't even matter. You probably don't even need to change any of the fucking taxes, to be honest. You just need fucking the law to be implemented and people stop getting away with shit.
On lower income individuals is not a tax on them. It's a tax on imports into our countries. It's a tax on foreign nations.
And these people are all just for expanding government power, expanding more government power. Like, dude, what is
again,
the?
As I said, the framing is incorrect. It's not a tax on the Americans.
Yes,
it's a tax on foreign goods.
Is shoved onto consumers.
But we agree that it's a tax on against foreign countries.
Well, who's buying the foreign goods?
No. Let me explain to you what a tariff is. A tariff is a tax on imported goods. You're right with that. But the issue is that's paid by the American importing business, and it's
tax on imported goods. Okay. That's paid by the American importing business. Okay.
Passed down to the consumer mostly because it's an aspect of cost of production and distribution. And it's not placed on the
cost of production and distribution.
Profits. So you're misunderstanding tariffs, and you think that the money is coming from foreign countries?
The money is coming from foreign countries.
No, it's not. No economist would agree with you. I have a degree.
Listen, at the end of the day, these companies are making more money off of these stuff. But it really just depends on what industry you're looking at. Like that was the whole thing about this whole blanket tariff thing over a country in general. Like it's just It's a weird idea.
Those
And then
taxes
going
are
after the bigger
levying
things
against
like
these
oil
companies.
and
It's
stuff
number one
like
is
that.
incentivizing those companies to invest
I
in
don't agree with
America
the
to buy goods
blanket
made
tariffs.
in
I agree with
America.
the tariff changes,
How so?
but
Because it's disincentivizing
I mean,
going and buying things from foreign nations.
Okay, so from a consumer perspective, which again, if we want to look at this, consumer perspective, it's making the products from other countries around the world more expensive. So it's not the foreign country that's paying for it; it's the American business importing the product, and then that's passed down to the American consumer. So disproportionately, you're talking about taxing consumers, which are, if you're lower income, you spend a greater proportion of your
But I
income.
think something major in my ideology is that if we were to have super high tariffs, which I believe that we should, people would not have to pay income tax anymore. I believe in having tariffs so high that people would not have to pay income tax.
Please just tax.
People would have actually.
that's honestly, I agree with that. Where, how do I put it? Because again, he's right. It does end up in the consumer tax, and the consumer tax is honestly all that matters. But if you get rid of the federal income tax, that's like, for me, how much of it, I'm trying to give a percentage amount of how much that would be off of my back for a yearly basis. Assuming we're still just paying state income tax. And listen, I don't even think any of this is possible because, like, I refuse to believe that California is not taxed enough already, and the California economy was completely killed. They're already getting taxed enough. They completely just threw it off the deep end the last 6 years, I'd say. Because he's talking about consumer. I don't like the consumer tax. I don't. And you have to think about taxes and where they're actually going. That's why I say that matters more. Where it's like, listen, I don't even agree with property taxes per se. Just because I don't like the government being entwined with your property. Like, I think that's kind of wrong on an ethical level. But at the end of the day, those property taxes goes to funding your schools. These consumer taxes, who do they benefit the most? And for socialists, they'll always just frame it as, oh, these corporations is a business. At the end of the day, is it American business benefiting from it? I don't necessarily have a problem with it, especially, again.
Well, what he really wants to do is he wants to shift the burden of taxation. Progressive tax system through the concept.
Let me see. Let's chat GBT it. Let's GBT it. Hello, what debate are you listening to? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your message. This is a Jubilee. Left
Income
first,
tax
right one.
Disproportionately taxes people who are richer. So what you want to do is you want to take a progressive tax and you want to replace it with a regressive tax. Therefore, we're taking money from the from the poor, and then giving it to the rich.
Well, not exactly.
How's your day going?
What it would be doing though with tariffs is not taxing person off of how much they make. It's how much they consume, right? When there's tariffs, the only tax that you're paying essentially is how much you consume. The more you consume, the more you pay taxes. If somebody's going to get a foreign luxury car like a BMW or a Mercedes, they're going to pay a lot in tariffs. Well, if some poor person is trying to buy, let's just say bread and a steak and poultry, that's American made, American grown. I guess I could say American produced.
What about clothing? What about shoes?
On clothing, I guess.
What about electronics?
Well, I mean, most of our
things,
clothing is from Bangladesh as of right now.
Okay.
And I mean,
you don't think poor people need clothes?
If we were to raise imports on Bangladesh and other countries like them who have a large textile industry, then a lot of those people would lose their jobs or go into a different industry, right?
Yeah, I feel very bad about the people. But aren't you supposed to be America first? Like right now, I'm trying to protect Americans.
Yes, I'm working
from
in the best
living in a country.
It's very. I'm like, you have to prompt the ChatGPT things so specifically. U.S. industries benefit, others are harmed. I think it really depends on which ones, because then of course they're gonna get harmed by the tariffs, but I don't think people understand that these companies have to respond. If you listen, changes in the economy just happen, and if you fail to, if you just fail to change, then there you go. Imagine knowing that we're all fully invested in AI, pretty much top 7 companies going crazy, just outperforming the rest of the S&P 500. Okay, if you're a big company that can implement AI, why are you not doing that?
Too expensive for them to survive while having their basic.
Well, then stop giving us benefits, and then people want to have.
You're not just trying to pretend to culture of dependency.
Yeah, the idea is we're trying to make it more affordable, and reducing SNAP benefits makes it less affordable for people. If you want to make things more affordable, tax rich billionaires, tax millionaires. Do not tax the American people. If you guys ran on lower taxes for working class people, you'd probably win.
Again, this is I swear, bro. He's saying he's not a socialist, but he has the socialist way of thought. I think, where it's just again, anybody who's successful in life, anybody with any real amount of success, that's abundant. It's just They're not like a person to you. And I get it. I get the mentality they have, but I mean, I just try not to see that way. I just think people want to succeed in America, and if you could just keep building up your own wealth, the whole thing is about building yourself up so you could build other things up around you, you know. And I do think, you know, laws need to be implemented where a percentage of like a corporation's amount really has to directly go to benefiting the workers first. Because like even from my experience, like I'll work for a company and they'll keep us at basically low minimum wage. Meanwhile, they'll open up their sister location of this store, and then they'll give another store a try, and then they'll continue expanding other stores and other stores. But they won't actually, like, you know, make sure the workers are being paid like a decent living that could, like, you know, just keep them, like, at least make them qualify for the housing around them, or around the area. That's how I think it really should be focused.
Yeah, the idea is we're trying to make it more affordable, and reducing SNAP benefits makes it less affordable for people. If you want to make things more affordable, tax rich billionaires, tax millionaires, do not tax the American people. If you guys ran on lower taxes for working class people, you'd probably win. But because you guys want to run on lower taxes for rich people and higher taxes for working class people, you guys will lose every single time.
Well, we're in the White House right
Yeah,
now, so we won't lose
I don't think they're running for working class people in 2024. I think they're mainly going for middle class people because they're the most harmed.
Single time. But what I will tell you from this here is, again, the prompt.
That's kind of what won them over, honestly. It's not about the lower class.
Hostage, reopen the government. That will happen. You say that you care about the American people.
Working class is inclusive. The whole reason why Democrats and everybody is just saying working class now is just because it's just more inclusive at the end of the day. Meanwhile, the other side could just say Americans. That's pretty much all you need to say.
Seem to really care about is creating a culture of dependency, because I go on TikTok and I see all
I want the best for Americans, not the working class. I want the best for all Americans.
That has to be a question that's on the minds of many people. I see people saying, "Oh, how can you expect me to go out and have to pay for my own?"
Because working class is such a broad, like, propagandized term. Oh my god.
To go buy my own things, like every other American.
Sir, you know that like the
A working class, like they were advertising working class apartments, or apartments affordable for the working class here in OC over there, and again, like the working class here are people making like over $100,000 like a year, so. The rent is like gonna be like $5,000, which is like 100% not the like what they're trying to appeal to.
It costs you a month groceries.
Yeah, you know, a couple $100.
Yeah, a couple $100. I mean, it costs me a lot more than a couple $100. I'd say around $400. So it's helping people. You still need to have a job. SNAP is not just here's all the free food you would ever need. It's for people who fully cannot afford the entire cost of food to have enough food for that month.
I'm pretty sure it's more like they can't afford rent, so they need money for food. But
not
okay.
Just giving people free food. It's not every time you go out to eat. It's not every time you order on freaking DoorDash or Uber Eats. It's making sure that the basic caloric amount that one needs to survive is met, and you still
they really don't implement it that way. These motherfuckers out here buying like Coke and shit, Coke and chips.
Have a job to maintain that.
Exactly, there's a work requirement already on top of it.
Like, you still have to work. It's not just all the food you get is free. I feel like you guys don't understand how SNAP benefits work and who they're benefiting.
So they don't go hungry, basically. Not luxury foods. It's just so they don't go hungry.
Yes.
But hunger would incentivize people to work.
It also makes it impossible for people to work. You can't work if you are not consuming food. Do you understand that food is necessary for human life?
I kind of agree with him a little bit on this.
Well, here's the thing.
I think there's just is like a thing is. Why do you need to continually expand a social safety net that was already working pretty decently? And like, what's the point?
Malnourished, it's not due to an economic depravity. Like, food is so cheap. The only countries where people are really starving, like South Sudan.
We are not a starving country. That's just a fact.
It's because the UAE is funding a genocide in Sudan. That's really the reason.
Exactly. So it's not
I'm sure starvation is happening. Those people should be SNAP benefits, but like, what are the specific demographics we're looking at? A lot of the demographics are fat white people in red counties. Like,
I gotta say, this whole argument also just sounds so out of touch. It's like, have you ever tried to do a task well while being hungry? If you have not eaten,
I actually work a lot harder when I'm hungry. I mean,
you know what's awful is I feel like they're almost like they're defending SNAP benefits in these red counties where they're getting paid dog shit money. I heard in Georgia for Starbucks they're only paying like $12 an hour, I think, or maybe it was maybe a different state, honestly, but. $12 an hour is crazy. That was my minimum wage in California when I first started working at Target. Okay, I was making $13 an hour, like $13.50. So that's less. Like, I don't know how modern day America you're living like that. But then I also hear, like, if you move out of California, it was like a mirage that you're just getting fucked over, apparently. Like, every other state, it's every other state, it's like a $2.60 for gas. Oh my god. What a dream. What a dream. Vote for Steve Milton. $3 gas, please.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that EBT are like
Stop
these.
killing
Like,
that.
there's, like,
You're pretty sure or you're sure? Do you know that?
The average weight of them. Let's find them. Let's find them.
Even if that was true, that doesn't change anything. That doesn't mean that they don't need food to
Well, they
survive.
obviously have enough food.
Fat people never need to consume food ever. That's your argument.
For a good few weeks, yeah.
This is embarrassing.
Again, what I hope
Yeah.
we all agree on is that people would be much better off if they had a job.
Fat people are overeating is definitely
the
this.
use it as a tool and a mechanism to control poor people, to control minorities in this country, and actually allow them to stand on their own 2 feet, so that we don't even have to have conversations like this about whether or not it's unnecessarily cruel to stop EBT benefits that are only stopped right now because Democrats refuse to reopen the government. So if you want these people to eat, let them eat. But you know what you got to do first? Reopen the government.
How can they stand on their own 2 feet if they don't have food and they can't go to the doctor?
So it seems like you guys think that the best way for people to specifically get access to food is for them to determine it based upon their own actions.
It's just like she's generalizing so much. Oh, wait. Actually, I'm pretty sure I'm the demographic she's talking about.
This car. 3 days. Foundation then decided to. It's because we're in a civil war with Sudan. You know how much humanitarian
No,
aid
it's
goes
because,
there?
it's because the UAE is funding they need it, and regardless of whether or not people specifically have the ability to provide it themselves, I think they should be provided it. And
Like this about whether or not it's unnecessarily them eat. But you know what you got to do first? Reopen the government.
How can they stand on their own 2 feet if they don't have food and they can't go to the doctor?
Who's she talking about? Like, what demographic is she? They don't have food and they can't go to the doctor. You know, honestly, most doctors are doing better, full on just rejecting insurance companies and just kind of doing like their own non-profit or for-profit, maybe like setup. That's what I've heard has been getting a lot more popular nowadays, which is definitely the right way to go. They just need to ban the insurance companies. I think that's because like they're definitely going to be part of the market crash if something happens. Like they just stop covering people, and most people will be fucked without the insurance. And ooh, that's gonna be weird.
So it seems like you guys think that the best way for people to specifically get access to food is for them to determine it based upon their own.
It's all about how can you get more. Like, I don't get why anybody, like, why is nobody running on the slogan, let's get more money in your pockets? Like, holy shit, dude.
Actions themselves, and we think that it's a fundamental aspect of the government, a fundamental role of the government to provide food for the constituents that need it, and regardless of whether or not people specifically have the ability to provide it themselves, I think they should be provided it. And I think that you guys would probably say for people who are disabled or for people who can't work themselves, they should also be able to get it
Honestly, you
themselves.
want a real cooperation between socialists and capitalists is, you know what I think would be cool is getting a stock of whatever company you're working at a week on top of your paycheck, and then there you go. You have that built up continuously, and you kind of invest in the company you're staying at, so you're kind of incentivized to work towards getting hired at a good company. And then you also get shareholder rights and voter rights in that company, so then you get a more democratic company. I'm just saying, sounds a lot better.
Supporters like Nick Fuentes. It is not cancellation to criticize Tucker Carlson for rhetorically fluffing Nick Fuentes and other anti-American crackpots. It's not cancellation if you urge others to stop promoting those who rhetorically fluff.
Making sure that it's not just in the most of the stocks and shareholder responsibility is in the hands of the masses. Give it to some of the workers.
Nazi apology.
Yeah, I find it kind of weird that the economy is just like, oh, well, I'll just buy all your shares and now I own your company. It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm not 100% sure how that works. So I gotta look.
Is lying to you and lying for the most.
I find it fun though.
Misdirect
It's interesting to learn about.
And their promoters. The issue here isn't that Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show last week. He has every right to do that, of course. The issue here is that Tucker Carlson decided to normalize and fluff Nick Fuentes.
Is this the norm to them? I think Ben Shapiro is the norm to them.
The Heritage Foundation then decided to robustly defend that performance.
Well, cool to stop EBT benefits that are only
I gotta go back. I wanna rewatch that.
I mean, Ben Shapiro was mentioning like, hey, it's my right of free speech to be able to voice opposition to Tucker Carlson. But I think it goes a lot deeper of that with like you could say conservative ink. Mark Dice likes to say a lot. It's like Ben Shapiro is trying to systematically undermine Tucker Carlson, right? I'm a
Fuentes interview.
Fluff Nick Fuentes had Nick reasons to misdirect all crackpots.
And the same thing with children.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes. It is not cancellation to refuse to signal boost Hitler supporters like Nick Fuentes. It is not cancellation to criticize Tucker Carlson for rhetorically fluffing Nick Fuentes and other anti-American crackpots. It's not cancellation if you urge others to stop promoting those who rhetorically fluff Nazi apologists. Those are all elements of free speech. And anyone who says differently is lying to you and lying for the most cynical reasons to misdirect from their own defense of those Nazi apologists and their promoters. The issue here isn't that Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show last week. He has every right to do that, of course. The issue here is that Tucker Carlson decided to normalize and fluff Nick Fuentes, and that the Heritage Foundation then decided to robustly defend that performance.
The backlash to Carlson's Fuentes interview shows how cancel culture tries to police discourse and shut down dialogue.
I mean, Ben Shapiro was mentioning like
backlash Carlson. Oh wait, The backlash to Carlson Fuentes interview shows how cancel culture tries to police discourse and shut down dialogue. This is a lame-ass prompt.
Okay, it's my right of free speech to be able to voice opposition to Tucker Carlson. But I think it goes a lot deeper with that. With like, you could say conservative Inc. Mark Dice likes to say.
Listen, I don't get why anybody actually has a problem with them talking. Like, this whole hype is a whole Jewish-made thing. It's a whole Israel thing. Nobody actually cares. No way.
Carlson, right? I'm assuming he's one of the many Jewish Americans who did not want Tucker Carlson to speak at AmFest. Just an assumption, but I think it's a pretty safe assumption, right? We don't have all the details here. But yeah, I just think it's an example of cancel culture. They're trying to cancel Tucker Carlson over this and interviewing Nick Fuentes. I don't think Tucker Carlson should be canceled, and I especially don't think Nick Fuentes should be canceled.
Yeah, I actually think Ben is totally right here. I think that this isn't an example of cancel culture. I think it's him expressing that he thinks that Tucker Carlson should have been stronger against Nick Fuentes. He's not even saying that Tucker shouldn't have engaged with Nick Fuentes. He's literally just saying he should have engaged stronger. And he actually said it was justified for PBD to engage in a dialogue with Fuentes, which, I mean, I actually kind of disagree with him. I don't think PBD put enough of a pushback on Nick Fuentes as I think he should have. But I think the point still stands is that they're saying that you could have engaged in this conversation. Just do so stronger. Be like how he was against Ted Cruz, you know?
I think they're really not looking at the background of it, of like how they were full on just launching a war against Fuentes, like just like really pushing him down further and further, and like, yeah, they're really going after him and like shitting on him, the whole RNC.
Be against him, yeah, like acting like he's kind of more on your side or fluffing him up.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe.
I mean, not even that. They're also like full on ignoring him. They zeroed him out of Republican politics.
Tucker Carlson side. Like, I think,
and then he had to go. I mean, you know, honestly, it worked out better for him. So I don't know why the fuck he's crying about it all the time.
Oh, geez, I blinked out a little bit.
I mean, I get the hate for it.
Carlson should have been harder on Nick Fuentes.
I don't mean crying about it.
Say the things that I wanted to say. Like, it just seems a little bit odd to say, like, oh, this person, they are morally wrong for just not disagreeing with this person that I disagree with. Right? Maybe they have a lot in common.
Listen, I think they're just. Are they mad that they weren't fighting? Like, that's what it kind of seems like to me. Like, is it bad that they got along? I don't think that's ever a bad thing.
When we're talking about this cancel culture, I think a lot of the times we blame Democrats and the left for policing, you know, speech through cancel culture. But if you watch the interview with Nick Fuentes, he starts by saying he was canceled by the right. So when you were talking about, oh, we shouldn't have cancel culture, we should have cancel culture, you shouldn't be looking at us. You should be looking internally at your party and talking to each other about what kind of speech you think is morally acceptable to promote as a conservative or a MAGA Republican.
No one was really saying left.
So what I'll say is I'll open up by saying I have many disagreements with Nick Fuentes on a wide range of issues. What I take issue with is that I watched the interview, and I think Tucker Carlson at many times did push back on some of the things that Nick Fuentes was saying. But I'm a free speech absolutist. I believe that good ideas will win the day, and the only way to beat bad ideas is with good ideas. And so I don't think that ignoring Nick Fuentes is the way to.
Definitely a slogan that people started adopting after Charlie Kirk died.
Why your ideas are better than his ideas, which I think
I agree with it.
Certain points in that interview, Tucker did do. Maybe not up to the expectation of Ben Shapiro, but they're different people and they have different styles and different ways of going about it. So my entire thing is that, like, I don't really care, say what you want about Nick Fuentes. Like, I'm not going to defend him or anything that he's ever said. But I think that the backlash I've seen shown towards the Heritage Foundation and shown towards Tucker Carlson for simply having a conversation doesn't really make much sense to me. And it's not reflective of, as you just said, and I think that's a fair criticism, is like if the right is anti-cancel culture, then why are we getting mad at Tucker for being a journalist and asking someone questions? And at points in that interview, holding him to account.
That's a real big thing that I feel people are ignoring. It's like, listen, he's a journalist. And, like, maybe he, like, again, people are just mad that he wasn't being like a dick. That's what it seems like. It wasn't being like super argumentative. Really, none. That's insane.
Expectation. When you engage in a debate with people that you disagree with, you have an expectation from your own side, but be strong against them.
This is a podcast, not a debate, though. This is a debate/podcast, right? But Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes weren't having a debate. They were having a discussion on a podcast. It is very odd for Ben Shapiro to say, oh, he should have disagreed with them more. What if they just disagree? Like, what if they disagree a lot more than we think that they do? What if Tucker Carlson is trying to slowly bring in new ideas?
I mean, but the issue is that Nick Fuentes has, he's supported violence on multiple occasions. He's used slurs against black people, against Jewish people. I mean, the level of speech that Nick Fuentes openly states is to an extreme that I think could lead to dangerous and violent actions from certain individuals followers.
But is he calling for violence exactly?
Yes, he has called for violence on multiple
No, he
occasions.
doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's gone on record multiple times saying, "Hey, I don't want any violence." Like, so this is not true. And I think people have to look at it when he goes on the podcast and stuff, the way he presents himself there. I think he when he goes on the podcast, he's really just going out there like, this is the best foot forward. And then, you want to see his worst foot go on the podcast. Like, that's how I see it.
Insurrection. He told January 6th.
And again, he does put his best foot forward on these other podcasts. Like, I don't, like, yeah, like, It's fine.
It's fine. Don't stop. Keep going. That was an act of
But did he tell them hurt police on purpose?
He said keep going.
I like where he's coming
Like,
from.
that
That's
is what
all.
it is. He is inciting and
He
encouraging
takes a
people
lot
to
of
break
pride
the
in
law by
who
violently
he
breaking
is.
into the United States Capitol. That is directly inciting violence, and violence did occur. Police officers were hurt. I mean, I think that there's a clear correlation.
I
between
honestly
someone supporting
respect the
an act of violence
nationalism
and an act of
to a
violence
point.
happening. Like,
Even the white nationalism, if I'm being honest.
Much of what Nick Fuentes
I
said.
because I've always thought, I'll be honest, I always thought it was weird. Like, going to like what was it, a place and seeing like, look at this neighborhood. It says white power, like this white power radio. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? It's like crazy town for somebody all the way on the other side of it, living in California. I'm like, well, listen, dude, that's just how the country is, man. It's fine. I'm sure they're nice people. I'm sure they are. I don't think I'd go there just for my safety, but you know, it's fine.
But what I will say, though, is the reason that
as long as it's not a white the supremacist problem is a bad problem, okay? But you know, if you're I honestly don't even agree with the the black independence or white independence. I wouldn't want anything like that, to be honest. All right, you know what? Honestly, I can respect it to a degree. I don't agree with, again, adding, bringing. They're gonna try to bring back segregation to a degree. Eventually, down the line, 20, 30 years, it's gonna be a party of black and white people against a party of just Asian people, and they're really gonna start trying to segregate. That's what's gonna happen. That's how I see it. That's what I really think is gonna happen.
Because I don't think that's a productive use of our time as a conservative movement. When you have
they're gonna try to break it into like a bunch of ethnical bubbles. I mean, the world's gonna explode, and each state's gonna have a bubble over it. It's gonna be each ethnicity housed in there. And that's what America was meant to be. All 50 superior ethnicities, because I don't even know. Maybe not superior. Maybe we'll just group them all up. Try to group all 50 up and just throw them everywhere. I don't know.
A radical subset among them. They're trying to kill conservatives, virtually every week, it seems. I think that we would be a lot more productively focused on that threat rather than, whatever Nick Fuentes is saying on Rumble, to be quite frank. And so I think the infighting is just not good for us as a movement. I'm sure it brings y'all glee and makes y'all happy.
that actually, what I just said there is definitely the Nick Fuentes fear. He's like, I don't want that. I don't want that. No. Wait. I let liberal cities be liberal cities. I think honestly, immigration to a degree needs to be left up to the state and not the Fed.
Real conundrum almost, because you have been
honestly, you should.
Alt-right pipeline,
No. I was gonna say end the Fed. I don't know too much about that argument.
Yes, elevating misogyny.
I don't know too much about the end the Fed argument to really agree with it. I guess if it's Federal Reserve, I could agree with that.
Is there room ideologically in your party for white supremacy, or is there not? Because you can't welcome and accept him while also condemning his incitement of violence.
Again, I'm not saying that he should any of that. I'm saying, should Tucker be canceled for having an interview with a controversial subject? The answer to me is no.
Well, I guess you guys.
Sorry, I was gonna.
As a party, have to decide, should we continue to pander to white supremacists? Because having an interview...
Interviewing someone on a program is not pandering.
I think, again, I would say white supremacist is not the right word. If black independence isn't a problem, is white independence a problem in America? I think any kind of segregation is a problem. So both of those are a problem. So this whole... So it's just like technically I would agree with the Democrats.
You want Nick Fuentes as a white supremacist? Like, he openly states.
Well, yeah, I would like for you to define white supremacist.
Do you?
See, I really wonder how much of a majority actually represents Nick Fuentes' racial opinion of white people and how they feel about oh well, they're really trying to force multiculturalism a lot, because I never agreed with it. I always thought it was really stupid. Even when I heard Jordan Peterson talk about it, I'm like, you're really sounding like old man. It's like, okay, now this is when you're getting burnt out. You're getting really burnt out. Maybe it was a lot longer before that, to be honest, but He puts it in a different way, which
A belief in
no.
a white supremacist is someone who believes that the white race is the superior race and would like to see a country or entity, whatever it is, governed by the white race. He is a racial.
He definitely believes that.
A Nazi. He openly idolizes Hitler.
What I think I do agree with is that when it
He
comes to
did.
Nick Fuentes, since
He
Virginia,
did.
right, he does is actually only led to his popularity, right? Because and I think at the end of the day, it's like,
He
it reminds me
did.
of, like Alex Jones, when people banned Alex Jones from the internet, it's like obviously a lot of people didn't necessarily agree with him, but when you were saying don't listen to him, don't find him or whatever, and you ban him from the internet, it creates this like weird intrigue and mystery around that, which is I think we run the risk of with Nick Fuentes if we don't.
It's like creating a black market. Like it's how Rumble got formed. Or honestly, it created competition at the end of the day, which is great. But yeah, they're just kind of creating these little pockets for communities to grow and stuff like that. Where if you really want to like let them really be judged, just let them on the platform.
Him and actually discredit the ideas that we find to be incorrect.
I hear that, but it's not about censor or not censor for you and your
I mean,
party.
listen, if he like I don't know what he got banned on all the platforms for though, but it really depends on like. I think. I get why he got banned off YouTube for sure.
Or don't condemn.
More liberal platform. I mean, it's international too.
Well, that was it. I don't think it was.
Man, yeah, he should be back on YouTube. He should definitely be back on YouTube.
I think what Ben Shapiro is advocating for in that. Let's not acknowledge Nick Fuentes exists. Let's not acknowledge the platform that he has.
He deserves it.
That's not a productive way to.
He'd get like 25 million views like an episode.
I know.
100%.
That's where I stand on that.
But the right isn't doing either. They're both acknowledging him, but acknowledging him in a positive way. Like he was positive.
And they're afraid to see it. They're afraid to see it. That's why they wouldn't let him back on the platform.
As combative as people would have wished for it to be.
He should have been combative. You should be combative with a Nazi. Yes.
But I don't think being indifferent is necessarily an endorsement or any of that.
You should be indifferent, dude. You should be indifferent to someone who hails a man who killed 11 million people.
In that interview, at no point did, at least from what I saw, I've only seen clips.
Listen. Fact is, these guys are the kind of guys who'd have a beer with their enemy. These are the cool guys.
Acting as if Nick Fuentes does not exist.
This is what. God.
Not actually defeat what he represents.
And we're agreeing with you on that, but I'm saying
Thank
that
you,
have
Jesus.
to hold someone accountable
Oh
to
my
openly
God.
supporting a man who orchestrated the mass killing of millions of people across Europe.
I don't have any enemies. This is the I don't have any enemies guy.
At the end of the day, we all have our own opinions on that, but let's not pretend that this is just some like exclusively right-leaning issue. You have many Democrats who defended, Attorney General candidate Jay Jones, who openly fantasized about the death of his local opponents and their children. And so I think that this is a time for moral courage on both sides of the aisle.
Yes, but this is a your side issue. Like
Nick Fuentes is, but I'm saying that of course we would call for that same moral clarity and courage on the other side of that. You're
yes,
trying
of course, we agree. We're not the ones who are platforming Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, but you did just platform Jay Jones, who is now the Attorney General of Virginia, who again is a chief law enforcement officer who openly fantasized about the political death of his opponents and their children.
And I don't support that.
Yeah,
would you vote for him?
Have either of us said that we support that?
Would you have voted for him?
I don't even know the election specifically.
Yeah, what the fuck are you bringing up,
He was
guy?
running against the Republican nominee in the general election.
I'm not even familiar with either of them.
To be honest with you, yeah.
Well, knowing what you know about him, that he, in private text messages, said that he wished that the Republican Speaker of Virginia would be dead, along with his children, would you have voted for him?
Why are you?
No.
He's kind of.
No, I wouldn't vote.
Yeah, I would abstain.
So what I'm saying about that is that I think it's incumbent on both sides now. I think to call out these things.
But we hadn't even heard of Jay Jones. All of it.
I don't know how you didn't hear of it. It was wall-to-wall
I mean,
news.
Nick Fuentes has much more power in your party.
He doesn't have any power. He's a podcaster.
He does have a lot of power, man.
Influence.
I mean, he's like 5 million
influence is a form of power.
So they do know Jay Jones.
The Republican Party.
Oh, we know we're talking about Nick Fuentes.
Well, the state senators that were literally using like slurs and were literally like talking about gas chambers.
Who have resigned.
Who have resigned. They were.
Also, they're saying his party. I think they're really leaving out a big asterisk here. He does not support the Republican Party. He hasn't supported the Republican Party in like 8 years. Like, yeah, since like, did he even support it in 2020? Oh yeah, he went to January 6th, but I don't think he's been supportive of Trump like after that though. So for like the last 6-7 years, he hasn't been supportive of Trump at all. So like, what is he saying?
And they are not.
But they had the power.
He just leans more right wing, and yeah, if he had to vote, he would vote for the Republican Party.
Because Republicans condemn those beliefs when they were manifested in that way.
Good, keep doing
the point that.
Oh my God. I don't wanna be a fanboy, but I gotta add the asterisks here. Nick does not support the Republican Party. You know what? No, we're not. But they should know that. Like, come on. That's just.
that we're bringing up here is that Tucker didn't do so. In
If you want to say it's like a right-wing thing, it's like, oh, why are you born a certain way? Like, come on, aren't you guys like, oh, gays are born that way? Stop bullying them. Just born that way. Like, come on. Sorry, I was born right-wing.
Yes, and there are many other people who are saying the opposite of what Ben Shapiro is saying. And so the point is that I'm not going to say, like Megyn Kelly, for example. At the end of the day, when you look at this issue, we can disagree with tactics the way I'm sure there are many interviews where you've seen from folks on the left. You're like, you should have been harder on that person. You should have, asked them this, asked them that. Yeah. Hindsight is 20/20. And so I think that for me,
foresight is also 20.
For me, like. Maybe. I don't know. But I had to think about that one. But if you look at it, for me, genuinely, this issue is like really interesting to me. Because
he really thought about it.
I'm not in any way going to sit here and co-sign anything Nick Fuentes has ever said.
I'm glad you're not. That would.
But with Tucker, genuinely, I really do feel like more speech is always good. That's the only way bad idea.
Every time, here's the thing: that smugness and like every time she says that, it makes me want to support him more. Like it's just so fucking annoying, dude.
Discussions, having discourse, and so if you believe that. Nick Fuentes' ideas are bad for the country. The only way that the American people are going to know that there are better ideas out there is if you can compare them in real time. And
but we know that there's a difference between supportive discourse and intellectual discourse in the form of debate. Like he could have had a conversation that is like this one. We're not at each other's necks, but we are still disagreeing ideologically.
Yeah. What if Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro disagree a lot more than the public thinks?
Wait, I'm sorry. Would you debate Hitler?
Would you debate
Hitler?
Yeah. Well, Hitler's dead, so that's
like if you were existing at the time, would you debate Hitler?
I believe there would be a plethora of things we could debate about.
Like Nazis. Like would you debate Nazis? Like right now? Would you platform
Yes.
Nazis and debate them?
Well,
yes.
I'm asking right now. Neo-Nazis that exist today. Would you debate
yes.
them?
If they were non-violent, sure.
Their ideas are sure.
No, but like, would you commonly do so, or would you platform specifically
would I
like a
debate
neo-Nazi?
someone?
Would that be my niche?
It would expose them to the intellectual powers.
I don't know, man. Is it profitable?
But I will say, if you were to debate a Nazi,
Maybe I could change their heart.
Disprove their ideas, but I'm saying it could normalize.
Maybe they'll kill me.
These ideas aren't widely accepted yet.
But do you realize that like these people still have like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers? Just because you don't interview them or you don't debate them doesn't mean they still don't have a platform. Only way to undermine that platform is to expose how bad his argument is or is not.
Oh my God, you mind?
Yes, exactly. Once he has a big enough platform that now you're not necessarily platforming. But what we're saying is that in this conversation with Tucker Carlson, the issue is not just that he acknowledged his existence. The issue is that he acknowledged his existence in a fairly friendly and positive way. It's weird to be friendly with a Nazi.
I agree.
Perfect.
Elon Musk could become the world's first trillionaire after Tesla shareholders approve a pay package from Musk.
Hey, I have like, I remember I opened up a Robinhood account and I got 1 Tesla share, and I got to be a part of the shareholder vote. I didn't vote though because I was like, I don't know what's really going on here. But I thought that was pretty cool. Barbecue chips taste better than salt and vinegar. I agree with this. I don't like salt and vinegar. I'm sorry, I can't fight you on this. You're my friend. Sorry.
$1 trillion. The package gives Musk 12 tranches of stock in a 10-year period, tied to performance targets that could eventually hand Musk around 25% stock ownership.
If you said, I'd actually pick barbecue chips actually over most chips. I really Ruffles. Over here in Australia, we go to KFC and get chicken burgers. What makes it a burger? Is it because there's chicken sandwiches? Like is it like Chick-fil-A? The fuck is a chicken burger? But like, okay, it's just like if I had a hamburger and I just replaced it with like. Oh God, please don't be gay porn. No, it's not. What the fuck am I looking at? Okay. Zinger burger. Oh, so yeah, it is just a chicken sandwich. Interesting. I thought it's like grounded up chicken in like a patty or something. Okay. It's just a chicken sandwich. We don't call them sandwiches. What are burgers specifically? What? Burger. Because a hamburger... What? Oh God, what's happening? Oh God. Burger versus hamburger. Chicken burgers are weird. Saying chicken burger There's something about that. I don't like it. Yeah, you know what though? You guys do you. It's just like how was it? Don't you call? I think everybody over there says Z, and then we say Z. You know, it's just a weird difference, bro. Oh, okay, burger is a general term for non-beef patties. Okay, so I guess that technically is the correct term. Wow, maybe we're stupid here. Technically, all hamburgers and all that are a sandwich. So, is another in Australia. Waldo's also is called Wally. Huh. Interesting. Let me think.
Right.
I don't know what's like different here in America that's over there from Australia. Oh, have you ever had Vegemite? That's what I know about. That's Australian. Is Vegemite good? I've never had Vegemite. That's what I heard is the shit. You don't like Vegemite? Oh, shit. Okay. Is it healthy or something? Like, it... 90s cartoon as well. Yeah. Interesting.
I just want to acknowledge the reality is that, like, for the average American, what does Elon Musk having $1 trillion do for them? Is that really an inspiration to them? Because that's never going to happen to them. You are never going to be a trillionaire. You are never going to be
Bro, what is this guy's mentality? Fuck you.
I'm never going to be a trillionaire. No one here is going to be a trillionaire.
Because you don't got the mentality, you fucking loser. Oh my god, bro. Fuck you.
You are never going to be a trillionaire.
Oh god.
I'm never going to be a trillionaire. No one here is going to be a trillionaire.
Oh, sorry. The thing isn't showing. What the fuck? I'm sorry.
What does someone becoming so wealthy like that do for the average American?
There you go.
Well, I think that providing a greater level of... Well, I don't think it necessarily takes away from me specifically.
So why are you mad?
I'm not necessarily...
Well, actually, no, I think it concentrates wealth and power to a select few and not the majority of Americans. I mean, we've already saw that the amount of wealth that the middle class has is shrinking, and the amount of wealth that the 0.1 and 1% has is growing. So
Listen, I really don't care.
So wealthy like that
Honestly, Elon Musk being a trillionaire or not being a trillionaire makes no difference in my life. So I really just don't care.
Concentrates wealth and power to a select few and not the majority of Americans.
I feel like the debate of this is just like, why? You going to see FNAF 2?
So I think if anything,
maybe a couple days after. Definitely not at the opening. It's just a bunch of fucking like
just talk about class.
Just cringe ass shit happening in the theaters. I can't.
Richer and richer and richer to the point where they have so much
Let's
money
debate.
And meanwhile,
Other chat.
we're still discussing
Okay.
whether or not people deserve $187 worth of food stamps.
Okay, also, first I want to chime in on you, right?
Sorry,
what does the average American get from this, right?
That is growing. So I think if anything, this just shows the raising level of economic inequality in this country.
Arby's has the best fries food. Chicken jockey. It won't be repeat chicken jockey shit. It's 100% gonna be repeat. Something's gonna happen. The whole movie's gonna get memed. Arby's has the best fries in fast food. Have you ever had Carl's Jr.'s crisp cut fries? Hold on. These fries, bro. You go get these fries and you tell me what you think, okay? These are the best fries, hands down. There's no debate. It's expensive. It's like $4 or $5, and they know it too. They know it. Dude, Chick-fil-A fries. I listen. I like Chick-fil-A. Like I'm probably the few people you'll find who like Chick-fil-A fries. Okay, I'm the minority out here like that. But most people think it's shit. People don't like Chick-fil-A fries at all. So you got bad on, actually. You're losing this debate. Best fast food sauce. Man, I can't. You can never go wrong with Chick-fil-A sauce, but sometimes it just tastes like a little too artificial. So, really, Man, I love sweet and sour from McDonald's, if I'm being honest. That's like but that's maybe me, like, nostalgia. McDonald's ranch? What the fuck? McDonald's ranch. Sorry, what? Wild. Hey, I'm surprised we both picked McDonald's. We're soul buddies. Shit hits with the fries. You know, I don't like McDonald's fries, but like if I wanted shitty tasting fries in a Subway, we can get habanero hot sauce. It's so good. Man, I haven't been to Subway in so long, bro. But I never trusted their meat. I don't know why. I always got a veggie sandwich. Yeah, if I want a shitty tasting fry, though, I'll go to McDonald's. But if I want a good tasting fry, like the best tasting fry, oh my god, dude, Carl's Jr. crisp cut fries. I said it once, had my appendix removed because of it. Are you for real? Like, actually? You're lying. You're banned. Bat tray. Every time I try to do Australian accent. You want to see my favorite Australian girl right now? Oh my god, dude. She's a good reporter. I like her reporting on news. Right now she's reporting on some gay-ass news, though. She can report on some better stuff. My favorite Australian right now. I'm trying to... How does she... That's not the... Oh, here we go, video.
You're
Hello.
It's working.
America.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Really sorry about that.
Really?
It is my very first time going live as an independent creator, but also in collaboration with Riff TV. So shout out to Riff. That is why there was
Hey,
loading video
where did
playing
that
before we went
pin
live.
that?
And I'm
saving that for later.
To them because
Oh,
they
shit,
have
I
given
didn't
me
point
the
that,
space to be able to own my own content, talk about whatever I want to talk about, while also providing all of the incredible resources to be able to make it happen. So I'm so
I got
grateful.
food poisoning so badly
really
that
happy
when
to
I
be here with you
went
guys
to the
tonight
hospital,
on my very
it
first
fixed my
live show
Wait, hold on.
of the.
I food poisoned so badly. Man, okay, I had food poisoning once. Dude, I do need to play another game. All I've been doing since I played RuneScape is mining. I haven't done anything. Nothing. Just mined. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna play this like Minecraft. Spend my time in the mines the whole time, and then I'll come out and explore the world. I'll play Mega Bunk one day. I know it's free, or is it like $5?
Gender for just a second. Just talk about class. This is showing
Oh,
that
okay.
this is
So
your level
I
of
got
inequality, where
fuck
the
this
rich
bitch.
are going
Sorry.
to get richer and richer and richer.
The richer. Broke mentality. I'm trolling when I say that too. What was it? I got food poisoning from going to Popeyes, and then we went like right when they're about to close. They had a wall full of chicken, so already cooked with the heat lamps above it, and I mean I guess they were not cooked. Let's say that, because we all messaged each other next day. And it was me and my D&D group, and then we were all like on shitting on the toilet pretty much at the same time. We're like, yo, that Popeyes, huh? Something fucked me. Oh yeah, Steam Black Friday sale. I haven't looked at that. I don't think I'm gonna get anything this time around though. I'll just look at my own.
Sure, to the point where they have so much money they don't even need it. And meanwhile, we're still discussing whether or not people deserve $187 worth of food stamps.
Okay, also, first I want to...
I feel like they're just using Elon Musk as a punch buggy. Like, I don't know if punch buggy's the right term, but like, dude's like trying to go to Mars. He's like trying to build rockets. He's doing like way bigger things. I feel like that those $1 trillion are actually put good uses to someone like him, you know?
What does the average American...
I mean, he's putting forward the electric cars more than anybody. He's always putting forward different energy options. He was always looking forward in terms of science and stuff and for technology. So I just don't necessarily like... I don't know. I mean, it's a weird guy, sure, but I don't really care.
And we don't necessarily get anything from him being a trillionaire, but it's what he did before that. Because of Elon Musk, we had the organization of the invention of the modern electric car, and we also have...
You know, out of all the routes he could have gone down and having all that money, it's like... He's not the worst route. The worst thing he did was date Amber Heard, maybe. I'm sure he's done worse. I haven't looked into his actual history.
What? There was a modern electric car outside of him. I don't know why it's only defined by him.
Really? What company was it? Because I've never
if I had to pick oligarchs, I'd pick the tech oligarchs, if I'm being honest.
That's a fair argument.
What were the companies in like early...
Only just for the robot. I don't think I'd do any brain chip or anything like that.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, what's your point with that?
Sure.
That's why Elon Musk
You like that?
deserves to be a millionaire. Yes.
Okay,
I do
no,
like
he's
that.
a trillionaire. This would be a trillionaire.
So we're past billion. We're past billion.
Also, isn't it like he's not technically I forget. There's like a big asterisk to that him being a trillionaire, but also he's not like, I think they framed it as the first trillionaire that capitalism rewards innovation as an inspiration to anyone chasing the American dream. I didn't read the prompt. I mean, I don't know about inspiration, but wasn't he like notably like not taking everything he put back everything into his company? He was living like a pretty whatever life.
We're a trillion.
We're not even making an argument on whether or not he deserves
So I
to be
don't
a
get what they're
trillion.
getting
That's
mad
not the
about.
argument is whether or not that's inspiration for the average American, that they can do well. And I don't think that is. I think that's showing of, let me explain. I think that's showing of income inequality. I think that's showing of a system that specifically is not necessarily representing the average American, that we're specifically, again, talking about.
I find it annoying the Democrat Party complaining about income inequality, considering like, again, it's the policies, the whole policy like shape is just like letting broke people in and creating an income inequality, like statistically creating, like, it's like, again, you want to talk about the browning America. The browning America would be adding Mexico as a 51st state and then become like a brown majority probably, right?
About literally people not getting access to food, people getting access to basic necessities like healthcare and health insurance, and their health premiums going
Like,
up.
it's like the same thing we're talking about. I was like, you want to add a bunch of broke people, bring in a bunch of broke people, and they brought in millions. So it's easy to say, look at the millions of broke people in America right now. Then it just makes it's just a major burden on the system.
Like, come on, man.
It doesn't inspire anyone.
Have you ever
Genuinely. How does it inspire you any differently?
It does inspire me because it shows just what is possible here in the United States of America and almost singularly possible here in the United States.
Well, did your dad own an emerald mine or have stake in his Namibian emerald mine?
But again, he didn't come to this country a trillionaire. He didn't come to this country a billionaire. But he didn't come to this country even a tens of millionaire.
But he came to this country independently wealthy. Yes,
so
that's
what
the
does wealthy
point.
mean to you?
Wealthy.
What was his net worth when he came to this country?
I mean, his dad's net worth is $5 million.
Okay, so he turned $5 million into $1 trillion. I gotta tell you, that takes some talent.
But he still had to start with $5 million. That's more than most people will ever see in a lifetime.
And most people lose that amount of money in one generation.
How is that inspiration for the average American?
That is actually true. That is completely true. People lose wealth across generations all the time. It's one of the biggest challenges of actual wealth transfer in this country.
True.
But he didn't do anything so unique.
Damn.
And special.
Wait, he was spitting facts there.
Into $1 trillion.
I didn't think I'd agree with him that much. But he's actually holding some base opinions, honestly.
But he came to this country even a tens of millionaire.
But
to take that wealthy.
Yes,
So
that's
what
the
does wealthy
point.
mean to you?
Wealthy.
What was his net worth when he came to this country?
I mean, his dad's net worth is $5 million.
Okay, so he turned $5 million into $1 trillion. I gotta tell you, that takes some talent.
But he still had to start with $5 million.
Yeah.
That's more than most people will ever see in a lifetime.
He started with $5 million.
How is that inspiration for the average American?
That is actually true. That is
Listen,
completely
dude,
true. People
kinda
lose
cool.
wealth across generations all the time. It's one of the biggest challenges of actual wealth transfer in this country.
He's a good investor, but he didn't do anything so unique and special that I, as a poor American, am like, wow, I can do that too. That's the issue.
I just thought that the left, and you guys were saying, oh, ice bad, bring more immigrants, bring them all in. But yeah,
It's like the mentality of like wanting to keep yourself dumb. Like, bro, you chose out here, you chose as your life choice to come here and argue for a living. Okay, like, what?
First said bring more immigrants, bring them all in. We just said don't violate their constitutional rights.
So you don't want to bring more immigrants?
I think we should have more
So
immigrants.
now this.
No, I agree.
So there you go. So this immigrant comes, and by the way, if this immigrant was probably from like Sudan or Africa or was black, you would probably be saying,
If you want to be rich, go be an entrepreneur.
No,
That's a lesson at the end of the day.
No, I'm saying that if the black immigrant came to America, became a trillionaire, you would not be saying
if a black immigrant came to America and did exactly what Elon Musk did, snorted cocaine all over the White House while he fired hundreds of thousands of Americans.
What do you mean
not
cocaine? That was Hunter Biden.
Ketamine.
That was Hunter Biden.
Oh, sorry, no, I forgot.
Yeah, that was your man.
So if a black immigrant came into this country, walked into the White House, snorted ketamine all over everything, and then fired hundreds of thousands of American workers, despite the fact that he was never elected by the American people, I would not consider that black excellence. No, that's not excellence under any standard. And just because he's black doesn't make that somehow better.
Listen, I just think everybody needed to be fired, and a lot of people needed. There's just like a lot of rehiring and firing that needed to happen. So I just necessarily don't really care for the government workers. Like, you're just not gonna find me crying over it.
No, so let's take politics out of this, right? Let's say he came to America, a black man, was an immigrant, became a trillionaire.
Even like the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, it's like, listen, yeah, she ran a good show, but like, listen, she's out here calling herself she's saying she's feeling like a battered wife. Like, okay, well, fine, then go away. That's really the end game. Like, okay, you did a good job, you got your pension, you did what you need to do, great for the American people, inspiration. I hope she continues. But like, you don't think you can handle it? Yeah, okay. Maybe
Sure,
bow
and
out.
then if he came
So you
with
find
no
inspirational
money,
there.
It's not about his race. It's about the amount of money
You
he
don't
came
think
with.
$5
He came
million
to this
to
country
$1 trillion is
dude,
impressive?
If he came to this country, but it's not relatable because no one else
But
is
is it
starting with
impressive?
$5 million.
Sure.
Sure, it's great, but it's not relatable to the average person because we don't
That's a really
have
good
$5 million.
I think there's a lot
If he
of
came to this country with two.
Okay. Me and her are in very, very different situations, okay? White people have at least been in this world for like generations. That's not to say there's not broke, disaffected white people at all. But they actually have like a real sense of generational wealth. But again, that generational wealth got like fucked over the years. So I think most people are just kind of fucked over all around. But it's like me and her are probably like third generation immigrants. Like, of course we're gonna be broker. Like, it's just like I look at America as a new start of civilization. I think that's the coolest part about it because we're just a pretty young country that became so powerful. It's just like it's just so cool. Like, come on, it's Christian land too. It's just, like, or come on, it's awesome.
Pocket and was able to grow through his ingenuity, then absolutely that's much more relatable. But really what this is just proving to me is that the system is built for the wealthy, regardless of if you're an immigrant. So long as you start with wealth, you can do well here.
Yeah, that's actually like the most important point, is that it's not specifically that he made so much money that would specifically be inspirational. It's the fact that you would go from not having any money to having money that would be inspirational to the average person. So I don't see how Elon Musk specifically would be like an example of, you know, this is so inspirational to the average person. Like Donald Trump having a lot of money, is that inspirational to the average American? No, because he didn't come from a scenario that is similar or relatable to you.
I think it's not inspirational if you're a hater, but I don't see someone, you know, being a trillionaire or being a billionaire and saying, wow, my life is so much worse because of the fact that they've been able to achieve such incredible financial success. And I think that's the difference in mindsets between those on the left and those on the right. The people on the right see folks that are successful and say, how can I get like them? The people on the left say, how can I take that away from them?
No, but the
And
issue
that's
is
not
the capital
that's not
is a finite resource. Like, we can't just keep printing money so that everyone gets to be a trillionaire. There is a finite
Everyone
amount
does
of
not need to
money
be a trillionaire. That's why it's exceptional, because he found a way to create so much value that he is now a trillionaire.
But the issue is that there are too many people in this country who are starving right now, who don't have health care right now, who don't have housing right now, that I don't give a fuck how special he thinks he is.
Well, it's not how special he thinks he is. It's how special his shareholders think he is, because they just approved that compensation package. So it's not just some delusion that Elon Musk has. If he didn't, you know, wasn't so, imperative to the success of Tesla, he would not be given, that $1 trillion compensation package. So I think the lesson in all of this is create value, and the economy will value you. The free
You have
market
to
system will
start
value
with
you.
money, though.
No,
to
you do
create
not.
value.
Listen, there's no argument. There's no argument against was it flooding the country with like a bunch of immigrants or increasing immigration ever, or really like, well, how much did it decrease? I don't actually know. Let's see. Think faster. Fucking clanker. Okay, let's see. Four 480,000 fewer than would have under prior levels. Okay. Temporary visas. Sure. In 2017, about 1.4 million immigrants arrived. In 2018, 1.3 million. 2019, 2017, okay. continue this.
I grew up in a middle-class family. Was raised by high school graduates. They didn't go to college. I was the first generation to go to college.
That's fantastic.
And I'm doing pretty well. I didn't start with a
You are much more inspirational.
Wait, that's
Yes,
not what we're saying.
yes.
It's inspirational. But the point of all of this, though, is that like again, it is not taking any away from any of us.
We're not even clearing that. Friend, that's what we're saying. It's not about where he finished. It's where he started. He started with a ton of money and help and resources.
He started with $5 million. He's worth $1 trillion.
I think it really does depend on where they are. $5 million, man. That's a ton of money.
I'm not saying he's a guy I trust, but what I'm saying though, it is still incredibly impressive. If we were to have a timeline of $5 million to $1 trillion, how big would that flat screen have to be?
Look, no one's disputing. You can claim it's impressive. We're just asking whether or not it's inspirational to the average American. And what we're saying, it's not reflective of their experiences. So why would they see that as inspirational? I bet the average American would find your story a lot more inspirational than Elon Musk.
I do personally. I'm the average American, and I like your story a lot more.
I appreciate it. But I think also too, I hope to one day get $5 million and be able to flip it to $1 trillion. So I think that is where I source that inspiration.
Yeah, that's very true. That's quite the thing to do. They were actually downplaying how impressive that is. Because he just made he's making base points.
Paying the same income tax rates that I pay when I make the money that I make. When they're paying 20% long-term capital gains and it caps out like at like 500,000 to $1 million, it should be keep going. The bracket shouldn't stop there. They should be paying similar rates.
Are these people taking more than $1 million worth of government services?
We're talking. No,
what individual
what relevance is that?
Exactly. So why should these people be expected to?
Here's the thing. They're talking about like all the security nets and stuff. It's just they're not addressing the big issue in the room. You wouldn't need these social security nets if people were just getting more money in their pockets, so people could actually afford things. They're just not addressing the bigger issue in the room.
Billions of dollars in taxes
because they make so much money they can afford it, and it doesn't take away from their disposable. I mean, not disposable income, their cost of living, what they need for their lives. The issue is why we have standard deduction, why we have these progressive tax structures.
I think the fact that they ignore the question or say, "Oh, well, you're asking them possible question." It's just the fact that they don't want to take the question.
More for them in terms of income because they have to spend a greater proportion of their income on cost of living, on things that they need.
I actually like a flat tax, which is why I support tariffs.
So that's regressive.
Yeah. Well, I would support a fair tax. We're actually only taxing.
I like flat tax.
So
I'd be regressive.
So as you consume more goods, then that's how we tax you, not based on the amount of productivity and value that you create. Because if we're really telling people the American dream is if you work hard, play by the rules, you can be limited.
I'd say flat tax on people. I'd be fine with income tax if that income tax is actually going to material things that people could see around them, like the roads being kept up and like like generally like more things being built and society flourishing and buildings and everything flourishing and architecture flourishing. I'd be all for these things if our taxes are going to these things, but they're not.
Then why should we punish them when they achieve certain benchmarks? We say that black people are systemically oppressed in this country, but yet the black people that are able to create wealth, create value, why should we punish them?
I mean, I just have to say, as a black person whose family was able to create wealth and value, my parents have paid so much money in taxes to the United States government. And it's because of what Parker is saying. Because when you are a high income earner but you don't own a business, the amount of money that you make is going to be capped. And then you still have the cost of your living. But because you're a high income earner, you're being taxed and there's no loopholes for your business expenses XYZ.
What's she saying?
But yet the black people that are able to create wealth, create value, why should we punish them?
I mean, I just have to say, as a black person whose family was able to create wealth and value, my parents have paid so much money in taxes to the United States government. And it's because of what Parker is saying. Because when you are a high income earner but you don't
wait.
Able to create wealth, create value, why should we punish them?
I mean, I just have to say, as a black person whose family was able to create wealth and value, my parents have paid so much money in taxes to the United States government. And it's because of what Parker is saying. Because when you are a high income earner but you don't own a business, the amount of money that you make is going to be capped. And then you still have the cost of your living. But because you're a high income earner, you're being taxed and there's no loopholes for your business expenses XYZ. So that's why it just needs to be a flat tax for your income. If you make this much money, you pay this % in taxes for everybody. It's unfair.
I'm going to disagree with this because I believe in a progressive tax structure. If you make $100 million in a year, you should pay a higher effective tax rate than someone who makes $10,000 in a year.
Actually,
yeah, that makes 100% sense. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to debate the issue.
10% of $10,000 is $1,000. You have $9,000 left. You have $9,000 to be able to afford everything you need in your life. Compared to someone who's specifically like making $10 million a year, if they pay $5 million, they still have $5 million.
Okay, Parker, I'll give it to you. That makes sense.
I want to look into this, right? So with the way taxes are, right? You put taxes.
Then someone who makes $10,000 a year.
Actually,
so it should not be the same. It should not be the same. Because think about it. If you have to do 10% of $10,000, it's $1,000. You have $9,000 left. You have $9,000 to be able to afford everything you need in your life. Compared to someone who's specifically like making $10 million a year, if they pay $5 million, they still have $5 million.
Okay, Parker, I'll give it to you. That makes sense.
I want to look into this, right? So with the way taxes are, right? You put taxes in, you get services out, right? Fire, police, roads, everything like that, right? Security, national security, I should say, right? How does a billionaire taking more than $1 million worth of government services?
It's not like equivalent to how much you take in government services. Do you
understand? I'm saying like all of them are
then that would mean that the most vulnerable people have to pay the most in taxes because they need the most government assistance.
Here's the thing. Again, I really do support Steve Hilton's income tax one. Where's Steve Hilton's thing? I can't get into contact with this motherfucker. This guy just does not actually want to win. Fuck! Let's have governor wear. Which way?
What sense does that make, though? I mean, like, are you really going to make a disabled person who needs more government assistance because they cannot physically work a job? You're going to make them pay the most taxes?
I'm not necessarily talking about someone born with a
saying, but I
disability.
think the lack of proportionality is what he's trying to point out. Not necessarily that people that accept more services should have to pay an egregious amount of taxes. Obviously, they can't even afford to do that. But I think it's the proportionality, right? It's like these people are the job creators in this country. These people are the ones that are giving these folks jobs for people to survive. So if we are criminalizing success, penalizing success to the point of financial oblivion, then why are they going to continue to be job creators? Oblivion.
They have so much. Like, do you know how long it would take to spend $1 trillion? He'll never be able to spend this amount of money in one lifetime. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
He's going to be fine. Even as a billionaire, he would be fine. These people are set for life, and their children, their children's children's children are fine. They're not going to miss this money.
Wait, so let me make a point here. So do you think that the...
I really think she underestimates how bad someone's life could turn around in just like a couple of years or a generation.
They have so much. Like, do you know how long it would take to spend $1 trillion? He'll never be able to spend this amount of money in one lifetime. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
He's going to be fine. Even
That's
as a billionaire,
debatable.
he's gonna be fine. These people are set for life, and their children, their children's children's children are fine. They're not going to miss.
He's
this money.
literally undertaking like $1 trillion projects. What are you talking about?
So do you think that the innovation that exists in our economy is specifically because of the pricing mechanisms and because of our like our economy and our like market system? Do you think the profit...
She's like saying like corporations can't like basically blow themselves up.
How about this? Do you think the profit motive is what leads to trillionaires like Elon Musk?
Like the profit motive?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let's predicate off the demand then. If there was no profit for them to make, well, then they specifically wouldn't have engaged in that particular business. So it's not them that are creating the jobs, it's the demand in the market, it's the consumer base, it's us as a society. And if you give us as a society a better overall standpoint for everyone has a baseline that's good, that means they'll be able to put more into the system that inevitably fund those billionaires. What you're advocating for is trickle down, and that system doesn't work because inevitably speaking, they're going to do whatever profit maximizing for themselves, which is going to make them richer, and
That's
it's not
a
going to
good
make everyone
point.
else richer. There's a natural trickle up aspect of the economy. When people are lower middle income, they spend that money into the economy, that naturally goes to the people who are rich like Elon Musk. So it actually creates a greater incentive to innovate if you build up your consumer base, rather than relying on supporting and giving massive tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires, even trillionaires like Elon Musk.
If you want to build up your consumer base, let's create more jobs. The way to create more jobs is to ensure that they have an incentive to create more jobs. By removing that incentive, we're basically saying, hey, you can be successful, you can build that company, but they're going to ask themselves eventually, why should I work this hard if the government's going to take away what I work for?
I think that the point that we're trying to make is that we want to see the American economy do the best as possible. I think our point of contention really is whether or not Elon Musk is inspirational to the average American. We don't think he is because he started off with a ton of money to begin with. And, you know, you guys think he is because even though he started off with a ton of money, he made a lot more. Is that fair to say? Sure.
Not even a full week removed from the best election night results they've had in years. 7 Democratic senators voted with their Republican counterparts to end the shutdown and reopen the government. And did they get their extended health care subsidies?
Government shutdown is so fucking stupid.
Subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. Instead, they got a promise to vote on it at a later date.
I cannot believe it!
It didn't need to happen in the first place.
Senate Democrats leave millions facing higher health costs.
That's always my
Okay,
standpoint.
I just want to kick this off by the one thing I disagree with in the wording of this statement is Senate Democrats.
By siding with the GOP to end the shutdown, Senate Democrats leave millions facing higher healthcare costs.
It's not total. It's just those freaking 8 guys. plus
Except
even
that
if-
was ended up being
to
wrong.
Make sure that we're united as a party. It's them. Them. Everyone else is fine. The end. That's all I have to say.
I definitely agree with them.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
But then you want to open up the government, so why do you don't like them?
No, I just don't like them. I just don't like those folks.
Okay.
But you should be liking the Democrats that specifically voted for it, and not the Democrats that didn't vote for it,
Yeah,
right?
the traitor Democrats.
Yeah, what I'll say is I'm glad those traitor Democrats, as you described them, patriots, I'll call them, because they opened up this government that is going to allow our brave men and women in uniform to get paid. That's going to allow those folks on those EBT benefits I know that you care so much about to get food today. And I'm happy about that. I think that hopefully, you know, what this will prompt now is a serious discussion about healthcare policy in this country. I think that there are certain inadequacies that remain with the Affordable Care Act. But I think also, too, Republicans have to do a better job at actually presenting a solution to this issue. I think that we've punted the football on this issue for a long time. We've been against the Affordable Care Act, but I don't really know if we've been really all that forthcoming about what we're for on this issue. And so
Yeah,
that's that.
that's very true.
So would you admit that you just have concepts of the plan on your side?
I don't think that we have concepts of a plan. I think that we are.
Don't even have the concept.
I think that we're on the forefront of a breakthrough that is going
having a concept?
that is going to deliver to the American people and consumers.
He's really trying to sell that.
I'm not a healthcare policy expert. I leave it to them. But what I will say is that I think it's important for us to find a solution to this. People are hurting. People do have these problems, and they're not going away. I think that there are inadequacies with the Affordable Care Act. But again, if we're going to talk about what we don't like, we need to also be able to talk about what we are for. And again, again, I'll leave that to the healthcare policy experts to come up with what that looks like in a free market-based framework that aligns with my conservative values. But in terms of what that looks like yet, there are people above me who are working on that.
You should stop calling yourself MAGA. That was like really reasonable.
No, that is
and
MAGA,
like
though.
smart. I don't think it is though, because Trump is the one who's got concept of a plan.
Just be American
The
first.
president wants to address this issue, and I think
You just
he's
need to be
voting-
American
Like he had an
first.
opportunity to, and it literally would have avoided a government shutdown, and he still didn't. Like that was his moment, right? And he didn't take it. I think that that personally is a fumble that might leave potentially 24 million Americans with 3 times higher healthcare premiums, some of whom just may not have access to healthcare because of it.
And I think again, that's a real problem that we need to confront.
Yeah.
I think that
I mean, you guys also had 4 years in between his first 2 terms to like figure literally anything out.
9 years for Trump to get a plan, and yet you still just had concepts. So, I mean, I get your point. I'm not even going to blame you for this at this point, because you've actually been very genuine in acknowledging that there isn't a plan on behalf of the Republicans. But what I really put pushback on is, can you name a single only free market system that specifically provides adequate and good healthcare for every average person in the particular country you're referencing?
Well, I think one solution that was oftentimes talked about, you know, in the early days of the fight to repeal Obamacare was actually opening up the ability to buy healthcare across state lines to drive down cost in that case. Also things like price transparency when it comes to procedures. It's actually so crazy you can go to the grocery store and compare the price of eggs, but you can't go to a hospital and compare the price of, you know, knee replacement or, you know, other types of life-saving or elective procedures. And so I think there are things like that that would be helpful in driving down
O'Connell
costs
is
every day,
pushing that. He's on
procedures and
Democratic
things like
side, but
that. What does that
also
look like as a system?
Trump had a bill lined up for that,
I think
something
pieces
like
of the
that.
puzzle.
So
What does that look like completed remains to be seen, and we'll see what that looks like.
Sure, I mean, I think those are actually totally valid. I just don't think that you can do those alone. And
That's something. It's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Like what that looks like at scale. I think that's what still needs to be figured out. But the president's talked about, you know, HSAs and, you know, giving these funds directly to the American people.
Drive up costs.
Again, it's just early days and formative.
But that's the thing, it shouldn't be early days after 8 years. So I don't disagree with anything that you're saying, honestly. I think you've been very reasonable on this topic. My issue is that we should be further than where we are right now in terms of a comprehensive plan to healthcare if you choose to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And I mean, you know, the Trump administration has had a lot of time to think about a lot of issues between Project 2025. I think it's 900 pages. Like, people have been at work for the Republican Party really, you know.
The Heritage Foundation.
Really locking these issues down and coming up with a Republican stance and plan for them, except for something as important as healthcare. You know, that's weird, right?
That's a huge issue for Americans. I mean, there's over 130 million Americans struggling with medical debt, and like I said earlier, 45 to 68,000 American lives lost every single year due to lack of health insurance because they don't get access to preventative healthcare. So there needs to be a solution. It can't be something that we're thinking about for almost a decade without an actual legitimate plan. Democrats, we actually have a plan for affordability, though.
Like, dude, I had a keloid removed on my ear 2 years ago. It was $6,000.
That's crazy.
To get rid of a keloid. That's insane. For me to go, this might be TMI, but for me to go get reproductive health care, I have a 3-month wait with my doctor. That's crazy. Like, what if I was pregnant? And it took me 3 months to get an appointment.
What do you have,
I would
Medicare?
literally be, like, in my 2nd and 3rd trimester before I get to actually see my doctor. There's an issue in this country.
Yeah, but fundamentally, I think that there is, and I think there are a lot of people on the right who are getting to call that out. Marjorie Taylor Greene has obviously been kind of at the forefront of this issue in recent weeks, and so I think hopefully that the urgency of this issue will lead to bipartisan consensus. I think that we may disagree about the framework and, you know, the intricacies of it, just like we do on any other issue, but I think that we all agree that whatever the healthcare system in this country right now as it currently stands does not work for everyday Americans, does not work for working class Americans, and we've got to figure it out.
Well, I really appreciate your candor. It's actually
really
super
do too.
refreshing. Yeah, it's nice.
Appreciate it.
wow, right? People care about healthcare. Oh my God, who would have thought? Oh my God.
We have the same type of agreement with him. He's going to advocate to get rid of Medicare. He's going to advocate to get rid of Medicaid.
Just take him in the street.
He's like, if they can't afford their health insurance, just let them die. Just let them die. Oh my God.
Apparently, being against Medicare and Medicaid means not wanting healthcare. Okay, this guy, I don't know.
The world's first titanium nonstick pan. It's gonna blow your hair back.
Say nonstick pan?
3 Michelin chef.
The values that I'm talking about are the ones in the Constitution and the Declaration. As I said, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, rule of law, democracy. If you go down that list that we said, whether it's freedom of speech, Trump is attacking that. Freedom of religion, Trump is attacking that.
He's not attacking freedom of religion. How is he attacking
Yes,
ban.
he's
We had a
100%.
Muslim ban in this country.
No, we have never had an actual
There's a
Muslim ban.
Muslim
That is an insane claim by you.
Yes, we did. Hey, everybody, I'm Tim Miller. You might have seen me on the Board podcast on YouTube or on MSNBC. I'm a liberal.
They did
and
market
today
it as
I'm
Muslim
surrounded by
bans.
20 Gen Z conservatives.
This guy's getting flamed to shit.
My first claim is ICE has become a fascist institution, and it should be abolished in its current form.
Here's the thing. Is it often by race or ethnicity? There's a big difference. I think is fascist specifically... No, it's not specifically a white thing. It's Nazism? by severe economic and social regimentation. Oh yeah, I would call Trump a fascist. If this is the definition, I'd call him maybe a fascist. Maybe minus the race part. I don't think he actually really cares about race. What is it? Autocratic. I'd say the circumstances of the government led it autocratic. Associates, technically. Trying to debate this in my head right now. Yeah, here's the thing. Trump does not possess unlimited power. So, it's just not the way our government's just not an autocracy. So, I don't think fascism will ever actually exist in American politics. Not real fascism. I want to say this is like a beta fascism, sure. It's just going to be one of those words that just like in the future is not going to turn out to be a crazy thing.
What's up, y'all?
So, the point that I want to make about immigration, ICE specifically, that I think it's worth making is a structural one, and one that I think you could respect. And it's the fact that, democratically speaking, it's been an issue that was not very popular before. Trump came into power, and it was the central issue for which he was elected for the first time. And then the second time he doubled down, and it was an even stronger argument. Do you remember that the people in his rallies and himself were talking about mass deportations? And that idea won. What do you think is going to happen in the next election? Do you think that sentiment is going to disappear?
Well, look, we live in a constitutional republic, so just because you get elected on a certain issue doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want. If the next Democratic president ran on a campaign that said, shut down all the evangelical churches because they think they're doing hate speech, and they became president, and then they tried to shut down all the evangelical churches, people would say, that's fascist. That's wrong. You can't do that. That's illegal. What the president has done on the border, we can talk about what's happening with CBP, but with ICE, I don't think that a lot of people that voted for him pictured this. I think that if you described what they're doing in another country, you'd obviously say it's fascist. You got people coming up in unmarked cars. They are wearing masks. They're jumping out, and they're asking people for their papers. That's not American. That is not within our traditions or our rule of law.
How should they deport them? Should they just knock on the door and be like, hey, Mr. Illegal, can you come out?
Yeah.
You want to have a little chat?
Yeah,
they broke the law. They came here into this country illegally, and we have to enforce it. So, if we're going to call ICE fascist, which you guys call everything fascist nowadays, then what are we going to have? We're not going to deport them, and then the people are going to be ignored?
I don't think we need to ignore the people. I think if you look at
deportation.
There are a lot of Donald Trump supporters out there that don't like the way that ICE has been acting. You hear this from Joe Rogan, you hear from Tim Dillon. What they've been doing is un-American. You should not be you should not be hassling people who are American
citizens. It's so American to bring in millions of illegals into this country.
There are people that voted for Trump that
what
have
are you
been
talking about?
Look,
JP, my name's JP. It stands for Juan Pablo. I love the Latino people.
Great.
I might look like a white boy, have the white boy aura, but I'm a Latino man. And I understand that it might seem like they're coming after the Latinos, but really, what we're doing is respecting our laws. We're a constitutional republic.
No, they're doing illegal. They're not respecting our laws.
Pause. I'm sorry, but you have to respect me. When I say pause, you've been eliminated. You have to go back to your chair.
Good to see you, man.
I got really weird. I gotta listen to it.
And one that I think you could respect, and it's the fact that the point that I want to make about immigration,
it should be abolished in its current form. I guess in its current form, sure.
I think you could respect.
No.
Democratically speaking, it's been an issue.
Border police different from ICE.
Popular before.
I don't know.
Trump came into power, and it was the central issue for which he was elected for the first time. And then the second time he doubled down, and it was an even stronger argument. Do you remember that the people in his rallies and himself were talking about mass deportations? And that idea won. What do you think is going to happen in the next election? Do you think that sentiment is going to disappear?
Well, look, we live in a constitutional republic.
What do you think is going to happen? Rallies and himself were talking about mass deportations, and that idea won. What do you think is going
They cut here.
to happen in the next election? Talking about mass deportations, and that idea won. What do you think? Second time he doubled down, and it was an even stronger argument. Do you remember that the people in his rallies and himself were talking about mass deportations, and that idea won. What do you think is going to happen in the next election? You know, do you think that sentiment is going to disappear?
Well, look, we live in a constitutional republic, so just because you get elected on a certain issue doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want. If the next Democratic president ran on a campaign that said shut an issue, doesn't mean
it's going to disappear.
Well, look.
Anybody? They clipped the shit out of that. Dude, that is crazy. That is funny. What did Grok say? Grok did not respond.
We live in a constitutional republic, so just because you get elected...
You're about mass deportations, and that idea won. What do you think is going to happen in the next election? You know, do you think that sentiment is going to disappear?
Well, look, we live in a constitutional republic, so just because you get elected on a certain issue doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want. If the next Democratic president ran on a campaign that said shut down all the evangelical churches because they think they're doing hate speech, and they became president, and then they tried to shut down all the evangelical churches, people would say, that's fascist. That's wrong. You can't do that. That's illegal. What the president has done on the border, we can talk about what's happening with CBP, but with ICE, I don't think that a lot of people that voted for him pictured this. I think that if you described what they're doing in another country, you'd obviously say it's fascist. You got people coming up in unmarked cars. They are
Pretty sure they realized they should have. It was stupid if they didn't think that.
That's not American. That is not within our traditions or our rule of law.
How should they deport them? Should they just knock on the door and be like, "Hey, Mr. Illegal, can you come out?
Yeah.
Do you want to have a little chat? You know, like
actually.
They broke the law. They came here into this country illegally, and we have to enforce it. So if we're gonna call ICE fascist, which you guys call everything fascist nowadays, then what are we gonna have? We're not going to deport them, and then the people are going to be ignored?
I don't think we need to ignore the people. I think if you look at
deportations.
There are a lot of Donald Trump supporters out there that don't like the way that ICE has been acting. You hear this from Joe Rogan. You hear it from Tim Dillon. What they've been doing is un-American. You should not be you should not be hassling people who are American
citizens. It's so American to bring in millions of illegals into this country.
There are people that voted for Trump that
what
have
are you
Oh,
been
talking about?
attacked by
Look, JP. My name's JP. It's for Juan Pablo. I love the Latino people.
Great.
I might look like a white boy, have the white boy aura, but
yeah, this guy's kind of going crazy.
I understand that it might seem like they're coming after the Latinos, but really, what we're doing is respecting our laws. We're constitutional republic.
No, they're going illegal.
Eliminate.
As you can see, I'm pretty well aware of how this deportation game goes. A lot of relatives have to face it, and I got to tell you that it's very well warranted. I find that with the mandate that Donald Trump got in 2024.
I don't think white people understand how many immigrants families have illegal families, like family members in this country.
He got a stronger mandate, in fact, than he did in 2016 and obviously in 2020.
I'd say there's like 2 per family.
Had immigration and deportations, by the way, as being one of the strongest issues.
Yeah, I hear you. We just said this in the last one, though. Again, you don't get to break the law just because you won the election. That's not how it works in a free country. We have rule of law. We have rules. Here's the thing. What ICE has been doing, going after American citizens, going after people, going after folks that look like you and asking for their papers is wrong. Here's an example. Do you have your passport on you right now?
Well, actually, yeah, I brought it, but I traveled. But
no, I'm sorry. Do you have it on your person? Can you show it to me? Okay, you don't have it on your person. Well, that's interesting because there's a guy named George here in LA who worked at a car wash. Here's what happened. ICE rolled up to his car wash. He is a dual citizen. He was born in Mexico. He came here. He became a citizen. He has a wife that's a citizen and 2 kids that are a citizen. They came into his car wash. He asked ICE. He's like, do you guys?
Okay, but he sued them.
They didn't have a warrant. They said, can we see proof you're from America? He showed them.
Dude, listen, no institution is perfect. And we could always argue these things shouldn't happen. This guy went to court and he got $57 million. What are we arguing about here? It's been handled.
His driver's license. Then they said, can we see your passport? He didn't have his passport on him. They grabbed him. They threw him in the back of a van, and he came downtown here to the detention center. George Redis is an American citizen, got detained by ICE. Just the other day, the New York Times was talking about this. That there was an unmarked
Did he get
car in
paid?
Chicago, driving down Lake Michigan. 2 guys hopped out of the car. They were masked. They jumped out and grabbed these 2 joggers, and they're like, "Show me your papers." This is. I'm sorry. This is not mass deportations now. This is.
Let them go after verifying their H-1B.
Hassling American citizens.
Yeah, that's a little bit more hassling.
This is anti-due
but
process,
I don't think there's a lot of
The
context to
bring
that.
up are actually relevant because I could do the same thing for Medicare abuse and whatnot, but I'm not calling for drastic reforms or even an abolishment. You're calling for an abolishment of ICE as we know it.
Yeah.
You're pointing out the fringe cases.
These are not fringe cases.
So
yeah.
I'm arguing that the vast majority of the people that are getting deported are illegal aliens. You're pointing to a small percentage of folks that are getting deported because of obviously anything that the government does, there's going to be mistakes done. And I feel like the majority of the people of the country voted more than they did for Kamala for such things to happen. And so what you're pointing to is, I think, to be
like I said,
something that's an obstruction.
There are many people that voted for Donald Trump that have already said they're upset about this. Prominent podcasters have said that they're upset about what he's doing. So just because he voted, it doesn't mean he gets to act
so in 2008,
illegally and act with impunity.
All right, so
ICE is about to have a bigger budget than the entire military of Israel. It's an insane way. Thrilled about that over there. It's an insane way for us to be spending our resources in this country. They're hassling American citizens. They're hassling people who are here on legal visas. They're demanding their papers, like this is East Germany and the Stasi. That's not how you act in a free country. You can do border control and you can do deportations without having masked guys coming and grab you because of the way you look.
Well, if that's the case, then how come CBP and the other things before ICE and before Trump haven't been working, and that's why the people elected Donald Trump in the first place? So then what would be your solution that would be some sort of a middle ground? Because it seems like you just want to get rid of the whole thing.
What do you mean? No.
See you later. Thanks for joining.